practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden symbols and messages, as well as all the lyrics of all the top rock songs. And they all sing the same refrain. It's hunger.
This is a special request. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimilla, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show. I am your host, Adam Dunn.
And I'm your co-host, Mitch Shenassa. We have a really awesome show for you today. We have a Cannabis Cup, all Cannabis Cup winners. Bike, get out of the studio, man. What cup did you win?
I'm just winners only, please. Winners. Today.
All right, you are the Nail Dwarf. Bike Holly Nail Dwarf, ladies and gentlemen.
On it.
But we do have all Cannabis Cup winners and P-Bud. Say hi, P-Bud.
Hello.
P-Bud's going to give us sort of like retrospective, because you're like a time capsule of Cannabis Cup, it sounds like, because the last time you were at a cup was when?
This is my first cup.
Oh, this was your first cup. Oh, even better.
What a time capsule.
Yeah. That didn't work. All right, so Adam's a time capsule. P-Bud is the, I don't know, snapshot, we'll call it.
A snapshot of the new Cannabis Cup.
Yeah, we also have Dave from Elite Cannabis hanging in back. Adam just showed up, so I'm going to run him through what we
I have to know who's
on.
Who's on the show.
So Dave from Elite Cannabis, he can wave right there. And they won first place CBD Flower, and we have some interesting questions, some listener questions on that one. We also have Swerve, we're going to call Swerve.
Yeah, and Scott's coming in the studio.
Scott's coming in studio soon. Scott from RareDankness, because it was his flower that won the first place CBD. He also won first place, was it Rec or Medical with the Ghost Train Haze one?
They just added one more thing to make everything more complicated.
Yeah, so he won a couple.
Now you don't even know what category of the category it is.
Rec, I think it was Rec. Adam won a couple. Won one.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right.
You didn't even show up.
I didn't even know I was in it.
Nope. I won a couple. It's been good. Nikka T is coming into the studio. He won a couple, and then one of those was with Riley from Down with Dirt, so he's going to come down too. We really got and then Joey Stein from Natural Mystics. We're going to give him a call too, and he won a couple too. So it's really, when I say like all cup winners, it's not like we found 2 cup winners before they got on their flight.
Or made up 2 cup winners.
Yeah, we tracked them all down. You can Google this stuff. Though, there's some things are apparently spelled. Oh, and then I almost forgot. Reed Porter from Green Dream, who is listed on the official cup results as Green Dragon, is also going to be calling in.
Dragon?
Yeah, Green Dream in Boulder. Everyone knows all about, all the hash makers seem to know that that's the...
They always have bomb. They definitely know. They're the ones people fight for the trim.
Exactly.
Fight for the trim.
So what'd you think of the cup, Adam?
I was going to ask you, actually, the same thing. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was... It was interesting that such a big monstrosity actually could go on, and the funny thing is it's kind of like the bigger it gets, the less energy I have to deal with any of it. You know what I mean? I'm
For
just like,
sure.
I'm like, I think I walked around the smoking area for once, and was like pretty amazed how big it had gotten all of a sudden. Like, wow, that really just keeps going, like under the highway, like kind of like Dixie's spot under the highway.
Yeah,
definitely
it was
looked
right up against the barrier.
Yeah, it was kind of like, hey, this is like kind of had a little bit of like tent city vibe to it or something, like because you're under the highway, kind of like in Miami. When you're in Miami and you're driving over and you're like, oh, all those people live under there. yeah, kind of. Oh, we already have a caller.
That was quick.
Man, that was quick. Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show. Who are we talking to?
This is Heirloom. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing good. What's going on, man?
Good. Did the podcast start already?
Oh, yeah, you're on the air, bud. You're on the
live.
podcast. The whole internet's hearing every word.
Sure. Good. How you guys doing?
We're great.
Doing great. Recovering from the cup. Well, I see no cup cough in the room. Is that
Except
a cup cough, Chris? No. So, yeah, we're all doing good.
We're calling about the CBD cup and possibly how the testing and results are judged.
Yeah, so we were getting a bunch of questions about that, so I went ahead and I texted Danny Danko about it, and I'm just going to read you guys exactly what I texted Danny and exactly what he said back, and I know he's listening, so I do want to say what's up, Danny. Thank you for getting back to me on short notice, bud. So I said, we're having the CBD flower winner in studio first hour on the Dunn Show, which we do. Say hi, Dave. Dave says hi. And some listener questions on what it means, whether that means the highest CBD or the best bud that's CBD rich. Because I think that's the question, right?
Basically, yes.
So what Danny said was highest CBD lab tested. So that is his response. It is the highest CBD that the lab tested. And it is curious because Dave also, you said the Cannaseur. Can you want to hop on P-Bud's mic or Bike's mic? Because it's
Mike's mic. Just jump on Mike's mic.
I want to be jumping in on P-Bud's spot. No worries. Of all dudes.
So we're going to get Dave on because Dave brought up kind of the same issue. So Dave, what did you say? You had entered your Cannaseur?
So yeah, I entered one of the Cannaseur cuts that we run that was actually from Ringo and you know, Ringo, he will be missed, but that tested at 17% on just the LARF that we tested at CanLab before the cup, which just based on previous testing should put it at, you know, 17.5, 18.5 up on the top, which, you know, by my estimation should have been at least up there. I saw the Johnny's Tonic pop up on the screen when they were rolling by in the R4, so I know all of those are running, you know, those are CBD dominant strains, whereas
Sure.
You know, that I figured the logic then was that, well, they tested everything with anything with more than one kind of fell into a category, and then they sort of qualified it.
Right. I figured it was like, because, you know, the way it works is there's the judging and it all gets ranked. And then I figured they figure, you know, whatever's highest in the ranking, that's high CBD sort of thing. Exactly.
Right. Right.
But
I remember I was at the LA Cup last year. Lions Tabernacle was at 14%. That won, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Swerve, Cali Connection won it. So I was just wondering at the 4% one this year. That's why I was wondering about that question.
So
that's basically why I brought it up, because we've got CBD strains. I've got one that's over 20% and on TH and CBD. We've got 4 that are all over 16%, very high in TH. Spent a lot of years back crossing, breeding, a lot of extensive work testing. So it's stuff that we're very proud of. It's stuff that I think flowers that people would use on a daily basis. So that was basically, that was my question. And on basic feature cup entering, how does that go about? Who do you contact for that?
So you know, I would definitely say submit it. You know, we're gonna find out a little more about this. I'm gonna hit Danny up because, like I said, I know he's listening, and I think Dave's.
Yeah, hey Danny, the 413 Valley, Massachusetts crew. What's up?
So, also, I know Dave's gonna get his thing tested again, just to, you know, sort of calibrate. It sounds like.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we run 20 different labs on our stuff to make sure that the numbers are pretty within a point or two, and there usually are.
Now, what I do know about testing is there is, you know, sometimes a case where one lab will test sort of higher or lower, but generally that's universal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's also, you know, if they're doing a solvent testing or a vapor testing, it's different numbers also.
Right, exactly. But it should scale, though. You know what I mean? It should all be relatively the same. So that's what we were kind of going to look to see with more tests, and we'll definitely follow up on it. And it's definitely a question a lot of people have had, and I mean, I've had that hillbilly armor.
Questions for me, and I appreciate you guys' time.
Yeah, I mean, just for the record, a couple things real quick, man. Like that 2020 that you're just talking about, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I really want that.
Yeah, I would
love.
A few people know about it online. It was kind of had it, and we're about ready to release it. It's just, you know, we wanted to perfect it. It's got the flavor, the smell. It's covered in trikes. It's got the CBD.
Hit us up when you have that, man.
So, I mean, that's really hard to do. Yeah. I was told at the beginning because, you know, the one kind of counteracts the other in percentages sometimes. But it's really the back crossing that's through really good genetics that's really helped us out, get to the point.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, if you guys want more info, it's Heirloom Genetics on Facebook.com.
Sweet. Nice, man. And I'll hit you up. You know, we've been Facebooking all morning, but I'll...
Yeah, okay, that's you. Yeah, how you doing, man? It's good.
Yeah. And for the record, real quick, too, the that was actually our indica entry because it's a pretty close to a pure indica from RareDankness, right? And when they announced it, I expected the Cannaseur was going up at its 19% and was floored when our RareDankness pulled in. I'm stoked that it was almost 5%, right? I mean, it hits you hard and kind of makes you sleepy, but yeah, it was crazy. And
yeah, I'll tell you half of our stuff is one of our main dominant genetics we use for CBDs. We actually got 4 to 5 years ago in Orange Hill, Jamaica. We traded some guys, and a lot of what we're noticing, a lot of their genetics over there are really medicinally valuable. As to where California is more higher TH, I've noticed is more popular. So that's a little info into our CBD is half from Jamaica and the rest are breeding.
Man, I think
from
that's
original Valley, Massachusetts strains and stuff like that. So
hit me up on Facebook.
Thank you guys
man.
for having us on, and keep in touch. And looks like a fun time in the cup, and I hope you guys have a good day.
Hit me up on Facebook too, man. We'd love to talk about that. It's a small CBD community, right?
Yeah. And that was you. I was talking this morning, right, about the question.
Yeah.
No. Oh, that was Dave.
Yeah,
Dave was just talking.
Yeah,
this is Mitch talking now.
Or hit me up after the show or whatever. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
And we'll be in touch. And honestly, it sounds like you guys have a lot of interesting work going on. If you guys want to, we should talk and get you on a future episode, get you in studio or either. Or
we have a lot of work to do for a lot of good stuff, man. A lot of new releases from the old school heirloom genetics from the '90s, from the Valley family. So definitely a lot of interesting stuff going on. We'd love to take that opportunity. Appreciate it.
Nice. We'll be in touch.
Huge need for CBD genetics like that out there.
Yeah. You got. Thanks for the support, guys, and have a great day.
Nice. You too.
Thanks.
All right. So, Adam.
Yes, tell me.
I'm going to tell you what I thought about the cup. Are you ready for that? Or do you want to keep telling me?
Is the world ready for it?
I thought it was gigantic.
It was.
I thought it's hard because we're jaded. It's like to all those people. I thought there were, just from talking to people with booths, a lot of first timers, which is where Peabody comes in. But more first timers than what I mean. Like the proportion of first timers was higher.
It started to get a little bit more like a little bit more like a monster truck pull, and a little bit less like a farmer's market. You know what I mean? Like, and that's somewhere in between. Because back in the day, it was always a little bit. It was almost like they didn't try hard enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was always kind of like you're like, oh, okay, and then. Now it's like they're trying too hard in some ways, but they're also retracted in some ways too. So I don't know. It's kind of like it was a little bit too much to take in. I walked around. I couldn't
too much
really
to take in for sure.
I mean, one suggestion I would have to say would be awesome is maybe, especially in the outdoor area, is they might want to group them into like zones that are actually like I don't. If I see one more vapor pen, you know what I mean? Like you're walking down the thing and you're not going to talk to anybody about them because you're just like, nah, dude, I don't care what your vapor pen does unless it gives me a reach around. I'm not going for it. You know what I mean? It's like, there's nothing you can do with those things, and it's new technology and it's sorry, is that CO2? Oh, okay, I'll move on. It's like kind of like and that's the way it was. I mean, if they just had vapor block, maybe it would have been the way to do it. You know what I mean?
Because some people are going there specifically for vapor pens.
Yeah, if I'm there for a vapor pen, you're never going to find the one you want. And if you did, so I mean, technically, just put them into like little areas because it's just once it gets that big, you just really got to start thinking a little more like a village
infrastructure, exactly,
like a village.
Yeah,
like hey.
And I think like I have my list of 10 suggestions, which I'm not going to go all through, but like hand washing stations would be dope. Water stations would be dope.
Yeah, bong cleaning /
that would be. I thought about that. I thought that might be a little too far, but yes, obviously dope.
Like an alcohol soak.
Yeah.
Just dump them in there, soak them up.
And then
more food would have been nice.
Food definitely would be dope. Cell service was a big drinking water stations.
Better. They just needed to rent a couple cell towers for that weekend.
They need that cell repeater.
You kind of know it. You know you're going to have that many people in an area. It's going to turn into a clusterfuck. And the problem wasn't so much about people not being able to call each other. It was mostly about credit card machines not working. And stuff,
I heard
swiping.
from merchants it was not awesome.
So that's a rough one.
It should be free Wi-Fi with a lot of repeaters, and then the wired internet connection is
just
what
in case it doesn't work. And you got yourself something. Yeah, because the problem is, I mean, if there's ATMs there, you can only take out a certain amount. So you got a guy with $1,000 piece there. You can't get it. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I'll give you a deposit, and it ain't gonna work. So, so in the long run, definitely to make the purchasing more convenient, and also I think just more staff in general. I mean,
yeah, staffing could step up,
Because
even if it's just people who are only hired for the cup. Like I only hire my staff for my cup staff.
Yeah, I'm not
cup.
saying they should be permanent staff members, but I mean they definitely should be they should have an extra 100 people on staff there just helping you out so that you can really kind of keep things flowing. You know,
better wayfinding is another. Like if there were signs everywhere, maps. Like,
well, yeah, that's what I said. Like if you zoned it and you had like little street signs everywhere,
Yeah,
and you could go,
exactly.
oh, let's go down to this street. You know what I mean?
I
That
mean,
would make more sense.
just like look at a big flea market and how they run that. I mean, I'm also realizing the cup is like three things. It's one, it's got like this flea market feel to it.
Sure.
Two, it's got like a festival sort of feel, but it doesn't have like the music. Let's come back
main
to that.
stage. Main stage would have been better.
Main
Like a real
stage,
main
and then
stage.
you do a volume cap on everyone else is sort of what I'm thinking. But I do want to shout out Way to Grow. They got that dirt cheap sale going till May 31st. Dude, I got the prices in front of me. It's cheap, dude. A bag of Roots Organics is $11.
That's the 3.5 or the 1.
The 3? That looks like the big boy to me. The Pro Mix bale is $31. Vermifier worm casting's $13. The 4 cubic foot bag of perlite's $13. It's a sweet deal.
I think we have Scott coming into the
Oh,
studio.
Scott from RareDankness. He can teach you all about mixing soil and Way to Grow. So Scott's coming in, and maybe he'll go check out Way to Grow Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
6 locations all over the state. Too.
There you got Boulder, Lakewood, Colorado Springs, Fort Collins, Denver. They got a new spot in central Denver. That's at 1051 South Platte River Drive.
That's the Big Daddy, 20,000 square foot.
Boom. And if they don't have it, no one does. Ask them. All right. Let's get back to where we were about the cup. I'm glad we got that in. Hey, Scott. What's up, bud? Congratulations. I haven't seen you since you just won the cup. So, yeah, I think the cup it's evolving. You know, like now it's like this in its adolescent stage where, you know, those 12-year-olds that are just fucking gigantic. They're bigger than their parents.
The funny part is this is a 21-year-old who's now the size, who's basically got the
maturity
of a
is not all the way there.
12-year-old.
Yeah,
We haven't quite got there
But it's
yet.
about to get. But the size is now like proper.
Definitely
And
size proper.
I feel like the other thing is, so I was saying, it's like it's got this trade show plus the flea market plus the festival, you know, all these different elements together. So I feel like you make it a week long.
Well, also, I mean, and to really what I think the core of it used to be was slightly educational too. You know, that was the other thing too. It wasn't most of the time when you go to see a festival and go see a bunch of bands, you're not really learning that much. You know, you're like, except for what playlists they were doing. But cannabis events, it's like a lot of learning going on because most, you know, all those newbies, they're learning as they're walking
For
around,
sure.
or trying to learn at least, maybe not learning.
And it's like a professional convention, whatever those things are called. You know what I mean? And then the other piece is you have obviously the cup, the judging. You know, because 3 people came up to me. This was shocking. 3 like out of towners, because you know my crew was all walking around in the referee jerseys. So I'd be talking to one of them, and they thought we were somehow officially involved.
Well, how would you ever think that somebody in a
referee
thing?
Because they assumed there had to be
was
someone
officially doing
officially
anything.
involved.
Someone has to officiate.
Yeah. So they would come up to us and be like, "So where do we see the entries? Where do we see the best?"
That was
spot?"
over.
Nope.
That was years ago.
You know, exactly. But I think, you know, bringing something of that back, because they didn't really have the screens going till the end. Usually they have the screens going with the pictures the whole time. So what'd you think of the cup, Scott?
What did you think of the Scott Cup?
The Scott Cup.
Oh, man, it was wild. You know, it was great seeing that many people all in one place.
Yeah.
I took a few minutes to just, you know, I see all those booths at every single one of the events. I see the same people, but to see all the out-of-towners and all that, just the populace that moved in, to take a minute to walk around and watch everybody smoking that much herb in one spot, it was pretty cool, man. You know.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely the awesome part was that it was no problems along the way.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, you know, besides the few people that went out after a dab or two.
There were. I saw one of those right when we showed up at your booth. We saw
Yeah,
that one
dude. Somebody. I wasn't giving out dabs, but I saw.
It wasn't at you.
He wasn't dabbing.
But I saw somebody, right in front of my booth, take a freaking facer to the ground.
That dude wasn't dabbing,
And,
but he's still in the hospital.
But yeah, he spilt probably a cup of blood just right in front of the booth. Man.
Yeah, that was the most dramatic one I heard about too. So that I think
And it was pre-cut, like they hadn't even opened the gates yet. You know,
and then
so.
after that, I walked out. I was waiting for the ride, And I saw someone online drop like that, and then whoop whoop, like everyone swooped in, all the emergency.
So yeah, my opening to everybody that came up to our booth was, "Hey, how you doing? You enjoying yourself?
Watch out for the blood.
Drink a lot of water. Eat your food, man.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to end up like that pool over there."
Yeah, that's a great thing to have in front of your booth the whole day, right?
Well, you know, the rain washed it away.
Oh,
so
good.
It was all
good.
We did get that little nice rain. Oh, the weather messed with the out-of-towners so bad both days.
Well, because you have to take that into effect that you're in Colorado. It's going to end up. You're going to have a windstorm at some point. It's going to it's going to come down on you, which it did.
A little bit. It got packed in. Like that was one thing I got to say in this. And to go back to the entertainment, the education thing. They've been doing the Cup in Denver 4 years now. And I've never seen the inside area have like people in it. It's always like ghost town. There's just a bunch of booths. The vendors are hanging out, and there's a few people wandering through or too high. I went in there the second day, man. You could hardly walk in there.
High Times was pretty smart. They like funneled all those people through there.
Through the inside
from the entry.
first, yeah.
Yeah. You know, the even better thing would have been if they had a gift shop, and then at the end, funnel everybody out through that gift shop, Disney World style. You know,
they do need the gift shop. All right, that's like 11 suggestions we've given you guys this show. That's a lot.
That's a lot. We've just recreated it again.
Cheap booths, please. Look it up. Cool. Well, let's. I definitely want to talk to Scott. What was it like to win? And if we can get Dave on in P-Bud's seat. Is that cool, people?
Yep.
Bring you back. Cool. Nice, because you guys are like the dynamic duo here. And can you guys tell us more about Elite Cannabis? I know I saw the Jenny Cush Fund Ferrari, which is awesome, but I still don't know what you guys are doing, and I would love to know.
Yeah, so Elite actually got started in 2009 before the 1284 laws didn't allow for us to work directly with dispensaries. So really turned into a consultancy at that point. We were hired by a few of the dispensary network owners to run some of their grows. And then we have actually been friends of Dr. Shackelford since 2009. And, he's kind of an inspiration on the medical side for us. And then obviously the stuff happened with Sanjay Gupta. And, that created a lot of buzz and a lot of attention. And, it'd be impossible to see Charlotte Figi and not be touched by, the capabilities of the plant that we love so much, right? To be able to do that and help society and help families be able to get their children back possibly and save their lives, right? Like that inspired me, heavily. I went and talked to Doc.
What the hell is that? Adam had something about Mary going on over there.
Oh, with his hair? Yeah.
It's been a while since I didn't have my hat on. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen you.
You get a little poofy over there, dude.
No, I left my hat at my mom's.
Have you ever done Wolverine for Halloween?
I should.
You could.
I know.
Definitely.
It's not hard,
right?
So anyway, David was a patient of mine at Stone Mountain. A lot of people remember that. It was one of the first 50 shops here in the state. Him and the guys from Cranford both were patients up there. And for me to see people who were, direct patients of mine now being involved in the industry, that's basically I got brought in as a consultant with these guys. So we're doing some stuff in Connecticut, here in Colorado.
There's 4 grows in Connecticut, and Jason Cranford actually runs one of them with Curaleaf, and then I run one of them with Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions, and Scott consults with me out there.
With both, so that means RareDankness is into
I heard you guys really had Connecticut on lock.
Yeah, so we focused on when I had spoken to Doc last summer and realized there was a heavy need for CBD genetics out there, and I started doing my research. Acquiring genetics has always been just something I was good at. I know a lot of people and a lot of good people, and I try and be as good of a person as I can myself. So everybody likes to share, and so anyway, I have focused on acquiring and breeding out a lot of high CBD strains. Was talking to Lawrence before he passed away, and and that he was doing great work actually with some of the same genetics that we're working with now. So really our focus so far has been a consultancy, but we're also working to fund Dr. Shackelford's clinical trials that are starting next month in Israel.
Oh, wow. Tell us a little more about that.
So that just got started. Doc got his Israeli citizenship and is working with a group called One World Cannabis over in Israel with Mimi Peleg and and a few other folks that I'm spacing their name right now because of that dad Mike gave me. So they're basically working on projects with the Ministry of Health to actually start the first formal clinical trials that aren't targeted at a specific product set, right? So it's not like they have a product and they're trying to make sure that they're proving the efficacy of that product to be able to launch it and make a bunch of money. They're really trying to be able to say, okay, what cannabinoid medicine works for what conditions so that we can have proven medicine for patients, right? Instead of it just being like, we're going to wing it and say, hey, here's a really high CBD strain and we've made a safe extract and we know that there's no side effects and we've tested it. So we feel comfortable being able to give this to somebody for a certain condition. We want to be able to say, well, it's the 24-to-1 strain with this type of terpene profile that actually allows us to treat X.
And we talk about that a lot on the show. I don't know if you guys have been listening, but we had Bo on and talking about that entourage effect and how the ratios are important, how the different terpene profiles are important, and how it's way more than just CBD and the very simplified, sort of Sanjay Gupta explanation, which, I mean, I don't want to discredit that and the value that that's done for our movement and for our culture, but at the same time, like, it's way oversimplified explanation.
Yeah, and it seems like there's people that are trying to manipulate that at some extent to be able to get certain genetics and only certain genetics into certain states, and that's just
doesn't make sense.
I love the fact that it's it's inspirational for everyone to be able to see a child be treated and suddenly not have seizures, and I love the fact that is sort of the driver that a lot of people are being able to use to bring cannabis into their state, but. I mean, the conditions are limitless, right? And
the conditions are also very much distinctive person to person. So last thing you want to do is say, yeah, you can only use this one strain, and then that doesn't work for you, and you're like, great, now what do I do? But it works for him, and that's very obvious.
That's what I think our real concern is, like, as a business guy, man, if you can like I said, if RD can lock down every spot in Connecticut, that's great. I respect that. But when it does come to, like, being ignorant about the healing properties of the plant, like, that's putting out a dangerous medicine. It's irresponsible. We can't let it happen.
Well, we're making sure, between Elite and the work that Jason Cranford's been doing on a lot of breeding, we have profiles of everything from a 48-to-1 that's qualifying as hemp here in Colorado at 16% CBD and 0.3% THC, all the way down to 1-to-1 ratios.
So can you break down for people the implications of it qualifying as hemp? That means so typically, if it's marijuana, what it says in the law is you can grow up to 6 plants as just a normal person or your patients per caregiver. But if it's hemp, if I understand correctly, that cap's gone. You can just
it's done under an agricultural license, and so it can be grown by the acre. The initial proposals were something to the effect of no more than 10 acres, I think, for R&D, and R&D kind of opened up what you could really do with the product. And then industrial allowed you to go that much bigger. Ben Holmes from...
To break down, like, 10 acres, like, I can't picture 10 acres. How big is 10 acres?
It's not very big at all.
Compared to, like, a warehouse, let's say.
Oh, it's big compared to a warehouse.
Right,
like
10 acres is about,
but when you're talking
about 4 city blocks.
When you're talking about a farm,
4 city blocks.
100 acres.
City boys, for you city boys out there.
Yeah, for us city boys, it's 4 city blocks. That's a lot of plants, man. That's a lot. That's definitely a lot of plants.
It's definitely bordering on vast fields of hemp.
Yeah, definitely bordering on vast. I would agree.
Where this is all going to get tested, it sounds like, is with the Stanley brothers. From what I hear, they're growing a few acres of Charlotte's Web, specifically up in Ray. And all plans are for that to be turned into a medicinal oil, which right now, from what I understand, you can't do that with agricultural hemp.
Yeah, has that been defined? Because that's what I was asking my attorney.
It all comes down to that exact moment. Like, right now, what do you do?
Exactly.
Like, here it is. It's all good.
Because they're kind of saying, here's products
that's going to be the tester,
created,
man.
Right?
Yeah,
that's going to be the test case.
It's just a product that can be created by the flower, and they haven't really defined whether or not that's acceptable.
It's similar to hemp in general in Nebraska and wherever. If you're driving down the road,
there it is.
It's there. You're not going to get in trouble for seeing it, but the minute you
start manipulating
it by cutting it down, and
is that how it works in Nebraska? If you like blast that stuff,
you touch it. You can't really even. You could literally
touch
touch it, but the minute you start pulling off,
you can make rope out of it.
No,
people have been arrested for pulling that stuff down to make paper or rope or whatever, like a craft, and gone to jail for 10 or 15 years.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Is bullshit.
So I would argue
they don't have to prove that you turned it into a product.
So you don't even have to be using it as marijuana.
No.
So I think we're going to test that too, because we have 30 acres that we just closed on in Boulder. Some of the farmers around the Boulder area, actually, that we know, have now offered to donate acreage. Now, I don't know that the laws are going to exactly allow that, but I think we're going to push the limits of that, because if you can create medicine from hemp, right? Jack Herer used to promote the fact that it's all hemp and it doesn't matter what we're doing, whether it's fuel, fiber, food, medicine, right? I mean, it's all the same plant, and I think we need to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down. That's been my thought, is that as we move ahead and kind of wake up and grow up a little bit, we'll be like, hey, you know what? That plant actually has more than 0.3% THC, but it produces the best fiber, and it produces some really awesome medicine, and it seems to be, such a great plant universally that at a certain point you're going to have to just give up and say, you know what, let's not worry too much about those things, and let's just concentrate on getting the best product out, Yep. And then that's like, I think where the R&D part is interesting, because you're allowed a little more flexibility up to 1%, so that gives you a little bit more strains you can work with, and bring in higher quality products. Probably.
Well, some of what we've seen too is the THC will tend to spike a little bit later. So I think as long as you have your crop times down, at least from what I've read in the regulations, it's a matter of them coming out and testing the crop at a random basis against the whole crop. So as long as you know,
take it out early.
Make sure that sucker comes down early.
That's right. Right.
For once in your life.
Yeah,
cut it early.
Cut it early. Don't wait the week.
It's the one time I'll tell you.
Guys, let's take 1 minute to shout out Incredibols too.
Oh, another one, yes. Incredibols.
Because
I heard their fountain went down during the thing. Did you hear about that?
I don't know, but I saw
Josh. He's
over
like
that thing. Telly, I caught Telly in the booth, so I walked back there
chocolate
and I
fountain
was
down. I was like,
backstage.
oh, no.
Like not waiting online, just going at it, man.
Wait, hands coming from behind the thing.
Yeah. That took me out the first day. They had a chocolate fountain and a strawberry fountain too.
Yeah,
it was bomb. But yeah, Incredibols, guys. Colorado's best edibles company, medical, recreational. They got it all. I got all their flavors here. Cookies and cream.
Chris knows them all.
Chris doesn't always know them all.
No,
but
he pretends he knows them all. He thinks he knows them all. And
I think he left some out now that I see the full list, because there's cookies and cream, peanut butter Buddha bar, the Boulder bar, which is chocolate and toffee for the record, the Peach Dream bar, the Monkey bar, the Strawberry Crunch bar, the Mile High bar, that's milk chocolate and peppermint, the Mile Higher bar, which is the stronger 300 milligram milk chocolate and peppermint, the Blueberry Bliss, the Fireberry bar, and then the all-new Makiba bar, which
I'm pretty sure he nailed all those.
Do you have all those?
He did.
Do you know all the ingredients of all of them? Because
Wow.
I have that written down. Can you name the 10 nuts and seeds in the Makiba bar?
No, I haven't had the Makiba bar.
But he remembered the Makiba bar.
He remembered it. Well, for the record, it's pumpkin seed, hazelnut, oats, almond, cashews, walnuts, pecans, Brazil nuts, sunflower seed, hemp seed, 30 milligrams of THC, 10 milligrams of CBD. That sounds like good stuff.
It's yummy.
It's like,
It's a wholesome breakfast.
Well, that's Incredibles. We always like to shout them out. I want to get some in studio for our wholesome. Like, I could use a Makiba bar right now. That would be a great way to start the show.
See, the problem is they always give me like chocolate bars at the wrong moment. So it's like, what am I?
We need a box.
You don't know what to do with it, and then you find it later,
We'll
and you're like, wow, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, we need
Like,
melted glob.
Set up the
Big
delivery.
melted blob. I got one in between the seats in my car right now.
So let's go back to CBD, hemp, all that good stuff we were talking about, and sort of that weird legal. I don't know why we insist on living in gray areas, but we're just really good at surviving in that zone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that whole CBD hemp sort of idea has been pretty pretty prevalent in this industry. Everybody who's been involved had the same epiphany. Like, wow, fields of this. To be quite honest, I haven't quite seen that many hemp products that coming out that I would say are as effective as a sort of more equal proportional THC to CBD for most conditions. I mean, there is obviously ones that need, that work on those extremes better.
Right. What I'm wondering is I'm not an attorney, is if we can take something like that 48-1, right, something that qualifies as hemp but is actually a cannabis strain, and it's, that 48-1 is based on the Otto, which is a Nepalese sativa crossed with some landrace sativa that Full Spectrum Labs had a while back. Mm-hmm. If we can take that, given that it's a super high ratio, can we sell those flowers wholesale to a MIP, and the MIP infuse a THC extraction back into it to balance out a ratio and get a dosing that works, and it defeats that problem of, well, there's not enough people growing CBD. We only have a little bit of it to extract, right? I mean, you can extract massive volumes of it and then be able to infuse THC back in at an appropriate
You
ratio.
got the MMED on speed dial. Why don't you hit him up?
Oh,
Is this a better forgiveness situation than permission?
Usually they are. I found that to be the norm, actually.
I mean, it's really for the right reasons, right?
Well,
so by the
until
way,
you get
guys,
to the-
in 11 minutes we can add Swerve to this discussion.
Oh, that'll-
I just got back from him because he is interesting. That dude was saying his Jamaican strains he's finding a lot of medicinal value. Swerve
Makes
was
sense.
telling me his whole CBD line, and it does make sense, and especially because they usually prepare the tea in Jamaica, which is a water. Not even like an ice water extraction, but they're boiling it, so it's like not a fat-based solvent extraction, so it doesn't pull the oils out. So that means more terps, more of those beneficial resins.
And it kind of goes back to the whole like reasons that people use cannabis, and like some places they never even understood medicinal cannabis, and Jamaica being one of those places that 100% understood that because
even though they just legalized it like now this year.
Yeah, but just because if you see the patches there and you see how they grow, it's very, very much like it is like a medicine man's patch. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's not like they're production lining it and they're killing the game. It's like sometimes you come in and you're like, really? Wow. But then as you get in there and closer and you look and you investigate, you notice that every single plant's different. It has its own vibe. They got their own energy. They're really into it. They know exactly what they're doing. Somehow, there's no labels on anything, but yet they've got it all figured out, and you're just like, okay, these guys have been following the track, from one to the next to the next. And so since they're doing that, and they're definitely looking for effect, I mean, these guys are not doing it for they obviously want to get paid, but they also really want to help people out. And so I think from a medicinal side of it, they're going to look at what works on everything, and not just like we're all just. Now it's all terps. I mean, basically, like you were saying, if you hear the word terp one more time at the cup, I'm gonna fucking puke. It's just because it was like terp is the new phenotype.
Right.
It's like
right.
a couple of years ago, every other word was phenotype, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, people.
You learned a scientific word.
You picked up.
Stop showing it off. We all know that word.
The one word I have picked up.
Yeah, I mean, if you picked up any Jamaican strains though in the last like 15 years, they've
mostly been adulterated.
It's been adulterated. I mean, seeing
Arjen.
Seeing some of that CBD, I mean, it makes sense. They had long flowering sativa varieties that were equatorial or African or whatever.
And that's what you see down there a lot of times.
They use ruderalis or lowland Afghan or something like that to bring the flowering time and the height down. And
there's two
boom,
CBD.
there's CBDs.
Yeah, no, and it's that's one of the things about Jamaica too. Over the years, is they back in the day they didn't even really worry about. They had males and females. It wasn't a big deal. We forced them into this whole idea that it's got to be Sensi, or else we don't want to buy it.
Did they get that from the Dutch, or when did that start?
Probably the tourist.
From the Americans?
It's from America. Yeah. I mean, from the Americans. But the thing is that they, they would go out and clear out all the males, right? But they never looked down. Because that's like too much work, of course, to look down. So they would just go in and cut all these giant males out. Boom, 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 And then the little males would pollinate all the stuff. And so they kind of like degraded their own strains just by that
weaker
practice,
male.
bringing in the practice of trying to make them stronger. And in fact, made them weaker, So it's kind of like the classic, don't ever, the little ones are going to do just as much damage as the big ones, if not worse, because now they're just going to lower
now they've damaged the genome.
Your vigor on your plants in the first place. So over time, Jamaica's probably been so adulterated. Plus, enough strain hunters rolled down through places like that, and dropped all these feminized beans there. That really helped out, I'm sure. In general, but you know how it goes. It's like one of those deals where the locals definitely always want to find is the guy who lives off of the beaten path. He doesn't ever deal with the locals. He doesn't, that's the ones you're looking for.
Well, interestingly, Africa, I lived in Africa for a while, and a lot of those sativas that are equatorial around there, they still aren't breeding them out the males at all. I mean, the entire crops are seeded. When you buy the buds on the streets, even they're full of seeds in each little wrapped cob.
I used to think that seeds because I think I read it in Rob Clark or something. The production of seeds diminishes the potency or something like that. But
it's just a different high.
I smoked plenty of seeded bud. Yeah,
it's just a different high.
The potency of the product
of the flower. Yeah.
To a point. I mean, if it's concentrating way too much on seeds,
that's what I had heard too. The same logic, right? Is that it's like all the energy.
I think it just ends up with a different cannabinoid profile.
Because you definitely get resin. You can make hash. Obviously, all types of hash off of those. Yeah,
like glue your eyes shut hash. Not that uppity stuff.
Right. Right. Oh, okay. So that makes sense. So it's not really.
Well, you know, plus we overflower. So when we're seeding stuff, we overflower at 10 or 14 days,
early harvest, or early
so
seed
it's going to
window.
hit you hard anyway.
Yeah, you want to wait until it just falls out of the plant, basically. That's the key.
Yeah.
That
so
is the key.
that's
when you start apologizing to your girls for them looking so bad at the end, that's usually when you cut them down.
So the Heirloom guys that had called earlier, that's one of the other things Scott and I are starting to work on, is do some of the breeding of his super high THC strains back into some of those really, really dominant, almost clean THC strains.
You know, RareDankness, Dutton, and I say it all the time. I said it a zillion times at the show. I don't do CBD strains, you know, like everything I've ever bred with a CBD dominant hybrid, we've given it away. You know, this is medicine right now. I don't feel like being one of the guys that capitalizes, you know, on it. I didn't capitalize on the cookie, craze. I'm not going to do it to the Gorilla Glue either or any of that, you know. But at the end, CBDs are what are really helping people, you know, help me get through cancer. It helped, you know, now with all the kids with seizures. So one of the things that was interesting, especially with Cranford's as well, with these guys, is it gives me access to a lot of CBD varieties that, you know, we can really play around with. And this year at Spanibus, man, I sat down with Shanty and Alina and Liz and Jaime and all those guys with resin. And, you know, we were talking about how right now in America the craze is high CBD, low THC, simply from the legal aspect of it or whatever.
Yeah, what people are looking for.
Yeah, but, you know, those guys have been working with this stuff for a few more years than what we've been doing. And they were saying to me, and I kind of agree with it, that in a overall broad spectrum therapeutic aspect, it's actually the flip. It should be high THC and high CBD to a point. It should be like a 75% ratio of THC to a 25% ratio of CBD. And they had some new strains that were high THC, high CBD, like a 17 to 11 diesel tonic. Nice. And I smoked it. Typically, I don't get any type of high from smoking CBD strains. I felt like the first time I smoked weed. Like, it was like doing a big old dab the first time. Like, it got me so looped out of my head for a couple hours. And at the same time, though, relaxed the hell out of me. Got rid of all my jet lag, my bum shoulder, my pinched nerve in my neck. You know, it was all good.
All those, it's weird, like all those endocannabinoid receptors that end up being like, they just become like atrophied when you don't have those endocannabinoids or those cannabinoids. And then when you do smoke that weird profile strain, it's like, wow.
Dude, it blew me out of the water. And I went over because me and Alina have this joke about not taking weed from somebody because she got hit one time. Uh-huh. And I went back over and I was like, what the fuck did you do? You know, and she's like, nothing.
Yeah. But so to go back to the Jamaican weed and you know, that history of growing Sensi, and it's interesting when you consider their whole tradition of it as a medicinal plant, as a spiritual plant, and they don't, like, I may, actually, you guys can both tell me more, but to my understanding, they're not necessarily breeding, say, okay, this is our spiritual line and this is our medicinal line, and we segment that here. You know, like we were saying, we go into this like, okay, CBD, that's going to be the medicine, and THC is going to be the rec. But I don't know. We know on this show that that's not how it works. But it seems interesting to me that there's sort of the wiser Jamaican culture that's not testing everything in a lab has like already figured that out.
Well, I mean,
it's just trial and error right there.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. You know, we'd have people that would come in to us at Stone Mountain and, you know, we're suffering from a variety of ailments, and this was for Full Spectrums was testing or any of that, and they would be like, man, that Bubba Kush, something about that, you know, or that Jack that you got, something about that. And when we would get those initial tests back, they were fairly high in CBD, you know. They would be, 17, 21% THC, but you would see 5 to 3 to 5% CBD on those.
Right, not an insignificant,
but not crazy like Canatonic or anything.
I was just thinking, man, Stone Mountain. This is a little aside. In the grand scheme of where the industry is now, the significance of Stone Mountain is like, because I know when I first smoked your Ghost in Stone Mountain, that completely changed what I thought weed could be. I know that's true for Rye. I know that's true for Travis. I know that's true for this man. Like in the for a dispensary that was in little, like, whoever heard of it, Longmont, Colorado, little hole in the wall spot. That basically what that comes from is a small group of dedicated underground growers that decided to, stop being underground growers. And even then, we had such an issue with just smoking other people's herb out of our circle
that it was impossible for us to buy, weed off the streets or any of that when people were able to wholesale to the shops. So, within the first 2 months, we just implemented the vertical integration. We were vertically integrated before, that was ever even a term here in Colorado.
Before that was necessary.
I think that's what made it such an epicenter, right? Because
we had our own warehouses, we had our own bakers, we had, our own growers who knew every bit of the product. The bud tenders were growers, so it was a cool
I know
shop.
That's why, everybody you named, Jason, me, right? Like, it's the same thing. It's we would never buy anything outside of our circle except when we found you, and it, opened up our circle a little bit.
Yeah, and that experience changed my overall opinion of cannabis. For years and years and years, this plant was something that, I did instead of drinking booze, gave me a little extra money to take vacations on. It was my hobby, but after seeing how many people you help, old ladies that would come in with limps the first time and within 2 weeks they weren't limping anymore, actually kind of skipping into your shop. PTSD soldiers coming back from Afghanistan who, were drinking crazy heavily, would come into your shop, just wasted drunk because of what they were dealing with. And after a month, they were no longer drinking anymore. They were just using cannabis. It changed my opinion. And then getting sick after all that, what do you do after that? It definitely changes you.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
lucky, it's Mr. Nikka.
Yeah, we got Nikka T in the studio.
Whoa.
This is truly a austere gathering at this point, dude. We're full of
winners.
Once again, if you're not a winner, I need you. Let's try to get Swerve in because this is the time frame we had told him we were going to try to get him out. Let me pass the phone to Chris and let's see. You want to hop on my mic, Nikka, and we'll let Adam kind of chit chat with you till we get Swerve on. Does that sound good? We're gonna definitely do your second hour, but we want to let you say what's up to people since you came down.
Nikka T, solventless winner this time.
Greetings,
couple
massive.
winnings. You had a couple wins this time, didn't you?
Yeah. This year,
multiple wins.
We did a collaboration with Down with Dirt.
Who's that?
White OG.
Who's that Down with Dirt?
And we took first place in the U.S. Non-Solvent this year with the White OG collaboration with Down with Dirt. We also took second place in the Medical Cannabis Cup here in Denver this year for our Sour Lemon OG. And that was a collaboration with Trill.
Nice.
Johnny up there, good guy.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It's all family. It was cool to
Once again, another dispensary that were all patients of mine at Stone Mountain before they went and started their own thing.
See, inspiration.
I touched lots of people.
It's an epicenter of awesome.
It's pretty interesting to see how it's like now. Because everybody's collaborating on different things. It's like 6 entries from one group, from 4 different centers. You know what I mean? So you're like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm a little bit like, it's a little different than it used to be. It used to definitely be like that team versus that team. You know what I mean? And now it's sort of like whoever's the best. You know what I mean? Is going to be the one that's going to end up processing the most for more centers. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things we pride ourselves on is our communication with all of the centers in Colorado.
We have a ring.
Establishing relationships. What's that?
And we're calling Swerve.
You're calling Swerve, actually.
Yeah, we're at the dawn of a new industry, right? Like everybody working together.
Swerve, what's good, buddy?
Whoa, wow. There's a lot going on there. Hey.
It's a big circle jerk going on around.
Dude, we're all cup winners. This is Mitch. We got Adam. We got Nikka T. We got Dave from Elite. We got Scott from RareDankness. We got Riley from Down with Dirt. And we got P-Bud in studio.
Oh, man, that's a group.
Yeah, seriously, there's some good weed in this room right now.
I could only imagine.
So we were talking CBD, we were talking Jamaican strains, and obviously we had you scheduled to call, so I figured it was a good time to work that in. Can you tell us a little bit about we were kind of discussing how it seems that the Jamaican strains have more of these unique cannabinoid ratios, and I don't know, Scott and Dave were talking a lot about it, as was Adam. I'd love to get your input on it.
Ironically enough, we do work with a few Jamaican lines that are actually really high CBD, that are actually cup winners, the Jamaican Lion and the Lion's Tabernacle. And for some reason, I have absolutely no idea why.
But yeah, it seems to be more Jamaican strains have the higher CBD ratio. I wonder if it has anything to do with the old industrial hemp. Maybe that was being produced in the from the Dutch, etc., that started sending stuff over, and maybe that's why. But not me. But for some reason, all those Jamaicans really do carry that CBD compound to them.
It's weird, too, because the Jamaican ganja history is like, yeah, there's African genetics in there. There's stuff that was brought over from migrant workers from India. There's the hemp that was planted there. So it is a weird little gene pool that's gone through a lot of permutations. So on that note, let's talk Cup winners. You had two. I mean, you didn't submit them, but two of your strains picked up in there, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty neat when they yelled out the Rascal OG. I was like, hey, that's pretty neat. That's another one that we've won for. And then the first place banger for Larry was pretty cool because I think Larry's now, I want to say, a 3 or 4 time Cup winner, an actual 2-time first place, I think, for Medical, one in San Fran and then again here, which is pretty cool, man. I mean,
I tried that Larry from the store, from MMJ America, and it was crazy because I felt like I'd had it before, and the batch I picked up, I don't know if it was the batch that it was entered, but it smelled like straight up like lemon dish soap, dude. Like it didn't even have really an OG to it, but it was like lemon, like super lemon, almost lemon droppy. So I don't know if that's the batch you entered, but it was definitely an interesting smoke.
Yeah, no, the group that I guess the batch that these entries came from, they're beautiful plants, man. I mean, he really made sure that he took care of them and made sure that the entry was going to be on point. I'm not sure if this was a veganic entry or not, but I know he's been messing around with like veganics, and I know it's all organic, but I know he's starting to mess with the veganics, and they're starting to play around with that more and more because they got all types of lights. I mean, MMJ America and those guys really have managed to crank out some super dank with the strains that they've been getting from me and that they popped from my seeds like this Larry, because they won second place with this exact Larry last year.
Really? And yeah. That's a pheno. That's not a cut they got from you. That's a pheno they popped from one of your packs.
Oh no, that's from seed, man. That's all from seed. That's a pheno that they popped from seed. I guess like almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and they entered it in last year's 420 and won second place with it. And then have been running it ever since because that was basically like their staple strain, you know, kind of put them on the map, so to speak. And, yeah, they entered I mean, they entered a bunch of other fire this year. I'm surprised that none of it actually turned out. But, yeah, I mean,
you know, what's
killer growers, man.
What Swerve's saying right there is something I've been talking about for the last few days is, as a breeder, when someone, I mean, besides us, like we can enter a cup with our own weed, and if we win, it's no big deal because amongst our friends, we know, you know, we grow good weed or whatever. But when somebody takes a pack of your seeds and cracks it and wins an award, and somebody else takes another pack of your seeds and cracks it and wins another award, I mean, that starts showing like the proof is in the breeding, proof's in the pudding. You know, the genetics are good.
Yeah, it's an example of y'all's good work, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, it's kind of the way they should categorize it anyway. I mean, it should be like, okay, this is from seed or this is from clone. And if you're going to be doing elite clones, everybody's...
Congrats, Swerve, if I didn't get to say so, man.
There's a certain level that we all know. Okay, there's, you know, you're going to bring it to that level. Occasionally, there's some guy out there that can bring it one notch
better than you,
but that's about it. There's not like you're going to take it to the 3 notches above because that's as far as we're going to go. Whereas from seed, there's all sorts of possibilities. You know what I mean? And so I love to be surprised. That's the same with us. I mean, Green Solution won with MK Ultra from us, and it was like, I know they didn't get that from me, so. Unless we left it there, but when we were still working for the Sliz,
but. So, Swerve, I wanted to come back around, too. So, your second place win, that was another one where... Now, you're working with MMJ America now? Can you talk anything about the vault and what's going on with that?
Yeah, kind of like how it seems all the big... I'm going to just call them what, in my opinion, they are. Not necessarily what they are, but my opinion. You know, the big conglomerates that are going on in here. You know, it's smart for them to align themselves with certain, you know, seed companies like Scott. You know, Scott's got it going, you know, on point with what he's done for River Rock over there, and the fact of, you know, I mean, really yeah, they were on the map, but Scott, you really put them on the map, with the genetics that you're bringing to them and updating everybody. That's the thing. Everybody's used to all the old shit, and now they're getting updated. So it's like all these other companies are finally starting to come around, realizing we need to get these bigger companies in on our side of the fence, which is, kind of what MMJ did with me. And, I started providing genetics to them, and we're going in on that. And then, to try to update, like I said, update the genetics. Because when I walked into their shop, I was like, man, you guys got lavender, huh?
Green Place in Amsterdam runs all your stuff too, don't they, Swerve?
Huh?
Yeah. Green Place in Amsterdam runs all your stuff too?
A few places out there do. They rep our stuff. They grow it, and they, enter it, and they win with it. Sometimes they name it after our stuff. Sometimes they call it their own shit. I mean,
gotcha.
It just depends. I really haven't been out to the dam in a minute, so I can't comment too much on that, because I kind of...
It was a couple years ago, but they had your sign in there, and there was a bunch of real OGs and stuff, man. It was dank. I blazed it extensively.
Yeah, I find kind of like... Exactly, that place is, no offense to anybody there and everything like that, but it's a very farce. The whole thing's a farce at times. People look at you in the face, say something, and it's in the end, it's a complete, just jackassery, snagging of whatever they can from you, and then throw you off into the wind.
That's Amsterdam cool, you're talking about?
I think it just means the industry in general.
Oh, yeah. I think that's...
No, the industry in general.
Oh, in general, yeah,
I've noticed in certain places, like on the older style places, like Amsterdam, for example, in comparison to like Spain, and then out here you have this new industry. So everybody's chasing, like I said, after all the bigger breeders that they can legally work with. That's going to be beneficial to them, And we're going to build up the army. Because, Scott's doing great stuff over there. And I know there's more other larger breeders that are involved in River Rocks, right?
Oh, yeah. Just recently, the DNA got brought in over there. And MTG was doing a few things with those guys. And Gage Green Group. And, yeah, man, they've kind of made it a home to anybody who wanted to come in and have space within their greenhouse to test out stuff.
So we have that stuff taking place. So it's a matter of time until we all eventually get together and form that one company or two companies or three companies that are going to be the equivalent of the greenhouses of America, Because that, in my opinion, is where I think a lot of this shit's eventually going to head out from the looks of
it's most of the people in this room, pretty much.
So I don't know.
Yeah, the way that the companies are swooping on breeders. They're like, okay, cool, I got my team, I got my team, I got my team, I got my team. All right, everybody should work together, and we all go after, not go after, physically or anything like that, but, in terms of business, take back what's ours in the terms of the genetics that we've been providing the Euros that have been making money off of our genetics for a long time, and now it's our turn to finally capitalize on all that.
Yeah, just being able to support each other, right? Like when Scott is talking about he and I out in Connecticut, there's a lot of money riding on all those grows, and there's not a lot of people out there that really know much about the plant or about the history or have ever cultivated it, a day in their life, right? And so, they need us, or we need us to be organized and to be able to support each other, or else, there's going to be some trouble ensue.
I don't know who else got to talk to the two guys in suits this weekend, but two reps from one of the Syngenta groups were roaming around the cup, and we're talking GMO of cannabis genetics, and it was fairly interesting. I got to see DJ Short, how short his fuse is. He's awesome. He's one of the most articulate freaking people when it comes to stuff like that. And it was interesting. The industry is definitely changing. I think as soon as the feds light up, ease up on this, it's going to be like that Oklahoma land grab back in the day, and people just lined up ready to run.
Yeah, well, the thing is right now, the way it's set up, which kind of is a bit confusing, I think, for anybody who's breeding and living in Colorado, is we don't really have an outlet yet unless you have an OPC or you're working with a dispensary. So you're kind of like stuck. And even they get stuck because they can't sell to another shop to sell to the growers. So we're kind of like in a weird position.
Till October anyway, right?
Exactly. So until that all kicks out, it's all kind of like just sitting back waiting. But once that opens up and we're allowed to vend for commercial or for medical, that's going to be a game changer, because then people will have an outlet and it won't be limited to you having to grow it in your place, which technically, like Swerve was saying, if people were smart and they have a dispensary, they should be grabbing as many breeders as they can, because that's the way you are going to separate yourself from the other shops. And that's pretty obvious. But soon it's going to be, after October, it is going to start to become like, well, it's just, whoever can pay for it, because you can just buy them off the shelf.
But I mean, even still, Scott, you and I were saying that and obviously Swerve, this is part of your sales pitch too. But since Scott and I were on the road selling the first packs of RareDankness, the only way to, if everyone's clone only, is the only way to distinguish yourself from the next guy.
It's pop seeds,
pop beans. Find that cup winning Lemon Larry,
or genetically modify if you're
or genetically modify
if you have no soul.
Yes, that Lemon Larry was what we used in the second place entry. So
okay,
so
cool,
big
man.
Up, Swerve.
Nice, sweet. Congrats again.
Nice.
He just won another cup.
Oh, nice.
So there you go. Yeah, stacking them up. And it's kind of interesting how it's like these legacies. It's like England and Brazil in soccer at this point. Like, there are a few brands that just keep crushing it and that are really in it competitively.
I'm not. I don't do this competitively, dude. Like, the only person I'm in competition with is myself.
But
and,
I know you're
Uncle Sam.
I know you're in a Scott. I know you're in a personal race to like reach 100% THC or 75. Whatever the highest possible in a flower.
I just want to see what you can max a plant out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I know that's always going. So you're in that.
And usually that just determines how drunk you can get your lab worker that day before they run the gas spectrometer. I got a 72.
That's one of the things I always admired about you, though, is that you don't look at everybody as competition. You're just doing what you can do to be the best, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I said it to the police officer that got up and questioned us at the grow panel, this week. After it was all over, I went up and I was like, "Listen, man, I know you're worried about these big commercial grows in residential areas, but I just want to see this plant legal for anybody anywhere to be able to grow it, much like they grow a tomato plant or whatever. My mama's getting old. She's arthritic. She's in Alabama. I'd love for her to be able to grow, 2 or 3, nice plants out with her azaleas and everything else. But she can't do that, And if this plant's legal, even if the big guys are involved, that's the end game, man. It's to be able to do it at home without anybody overseeing you, that's it.
100%. And that's why, end of the day, that's why I'm talking to Adam, Scott, and Swerve right now, because I've always had a deep respect for breeders for that reason. You guys provide the grist for that mill, and that's if legalization would not be a practical thing in the clone-only world. And that's
not at all.
And that's truly why I've always respected it. But Swerve, I want to thank you for your time. We got to keep it rolling here with our commercial block and our 5-minute break. But as always, a pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon, bro.
Likewise, man. I appreciate that. Thank you guys all, and congratulations, everybody. Rock on.
Congrats,
man. Back at you.
Thanks, guys.
So we definitely do have to say shouts to Swerve from Cali Connection for getting on the line here. That was kind of like a really interesting party line. That's so much. We get very interesting combinations of people on the phone here of legends, So we do want to shout out Way to Grow again. They got their big dirt sale going on. Everything's cheap. They got the Roots Organics on the cheap. They got your Pro Mix on the cheap. All the big bales. Big Bale Pro Mix is like $31. Big Bale of Roots is like $13. Vermifire worm castings are like $13. These are kind of off the top of my head, so I don't really know. But they got 6 locations. They're all over the place. We mentioned them in the first hour, but the other point with that is I didn't mention that they deliver, and you can give them a call, and they'll send a discreet van or a very obvious van.
Very undiscreet van. I love that one. I want that one to pull up.
That's the one.
You want that. You want the
if you think
minimum order on that.
If you think your neighbors,
if you order too little, they send that.
If you think your neighbors might smoke weed and you want them to ask you for weed, get the non-discreet van to roll through. Riley, Riley works at Way to Grow. You can go by the gun barrel Way to Grow and talk to Cannabis Cup winner, blushing in the corner, Riley. and find out how to use the stuff at Way to Grow Cannabis Cup winning weed. How about that shit?
Booyah.
Cool. Also got to shout out Incredibols.
Best edibles.
Best damn edibles. And I didn't realize that they did the rec. They make like everything in rec too. I was looking at their website yesterday.
Yep, they do that. Well, obviously, I mean, why wouldn't you?
It's not as strong necessarily, so you might need a few. But also, out of town noobs don't. That's what I saw a lot of this weekend at the Cup. It wasn't the dabs that really took people down. It was people coming in and being like, "Oh, cookies! Let me get down on these. Let me get like
yeah,
4."
Sure. Well, and just being dehydrated, right? They're up at altitude. It's dry. It's hot, and they're not drinking enough water. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that knockout kush.
So there was a combination of factors, but yeah, the reason the rec edibles are weaker is because it's wise to go that way. So, but definitely Incredibols has you in mind, and, you know, if anything, their shit's maybe a little stronger than the label says, as we know from previous testing. Let's also shout out Boulder Wellness. Did you catch up with Nick this weekend, Adam?
I did, actually. He's he doesn't enter the Cup himself, so it's kind of like he took it easy this weekend, but they're getting ready for their rec opening at their spot, too, so they're kind of stressing a little on that, but, you know, besides that, I think they just won with that Gilly 13 also.
They won that Rooster Cup, yeah.
Concentrate, first place.
And Kyle's like, he's on the clock for that shit, man. He's around that dispensary. But he used to get that Lemon G oil that Brad was selling for a ton. But now, man, he can't. He's like regularly in there getting that Gilly oil. I
think their address is 5420 Arapahoe. I can always remember the 420 addresses. Anything with a 420 is it 5 420 or 1 420?
There's only one of 9 numbers to guess. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, they are about to go rec. I think they were planning on doing it for this 420 sesh, but I think they decided to push it back a couple weeks. Probably not a bad idea.
Right on. Well, we're gonna take a 5-minute break and let Chris pay the bills and hang out and smoke some weed.
Cannapunch is a delicious and effective medical marijuana beverage proudly made right here in Colorado. Each bottle is freshly infused with 100% pure flower extract from the highest grade marijuana plants available today. Using proprietary extraction methods, every bottle of Cannapunch is consistently and reliably infused with an exact milligram dosage that you can count on to relieve your symptoms each and every time. Cannapunch is delicious. There's never any medicine-y taste. We use only 100% cannabis flowers. No trim or byproducts are ever used in Cannapunch. It does not require refrigeration and comes in convenient, resealable multi-dose bottles from 60 milligrams to 200 milligrams. We have drinks with dosage that works best for you. Cannapunch is available in a variety of delicious flavors like black cherry, watermelon, pineapple mango, and blue raspberry. And we now have strain-specific beverages available just for you. Cannapunch is delicious, convenient, consistent, and effective. Give it a try and experience the Cannapunch difference.
Call Cannaseur at 1-800-420-5757 for all your insurance needs. Cannaseur understands the risks you face each day, and we are there to protect your business and your investment. Since 2010, Cannaseur has been serving the cannabis industry nationwide. Call Cannaseur at 1-800-420-5757 or visit us on the web at cannaseur.com to learn more about our insurance and risk management services. Proud member of the NCIA.
Indispensary in Colorado Springs is proud to support Overgrow the Radio. With 2 locations in Colorado Springs, Indispensary invites you to discover what true selection and values feel like. Always featuring an incredible array of Stanley Brothers medicine as well as full line of edible and infused products. Indispensary is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week, 364 days a year. You owe it to your health and well-being to discover Indispensary. Westside location at 3044 West Colorado and Eastside location at 3031 East Platte in Colorado Springs. Indispensary is your destination for indispensable quality medicine.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
Green Faith Ministry is for spiritual guidance, MMJ information, and networking combined with compassionate care on the way to enlightenment with all Green Faith sacraments. Green Faith provides charity assistance, including medical and food throughout the year. Contact them at greenfaithministry.com. The Law Office of Edson, Mayton, and Matz provides criminal defense, family law, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running a medical marijuana center, optional premises cultivation operation, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout the state of Colorado. We're focused on providing high-quality service and customer satisfaction. We will do everything we can to meet your expectations. WarrenEdson.com. Edson, Mayton, and Matz in Denver, 303-831-8188, and in Aspen, 970-948-7183. WarrenEdson.com.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On Grass. Runongrass.com.
Extraction Tech Solutions. Not only is it safe, but it offers one of the only ETL certified essential oil extraction systems on the market. Our equipment meets or exceeds all of the North American safety standards. Customer relationships are important to us, so after the sale, it doesn't stop for us. We are reliable and therefore when our customer needs us. We offer pre- and post-sales training, method development, services, and repairs. Extraction Tech, safe and reliable because it matters. Contact us at www.extractiontech.com or 720-515-9254.
National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
Welcome back to the Adam Dunn Show. We are on the second half of our show, and we are going to continue on here. We got Nikka in the hot seat over here.
Also Riley from Down with Dirt.
Bam.
Still in studio, as always.
Dirtbags. We got dirtbags in the studio, basically, is what it comes down to.
Yep. We got Scott from RareDankness. We got
more dirtbags.
Dave from Elite. We got P-Bud. I got to take a moment to do a cup shout out I missed before, and then we're going to call Reed from Green Dream because they took first place medical oil. I have like these awesome tackle boxes, which I stole this idea from Scott. I'm going to give him the credit right off the bat. But walking around the cup with these is really easy to get them. Well, I don't want to say easy, but people are inclined to help you fill them if you only have a few unfilled spots. So you get a bunch of good varieties.
It's like people wear their old hoodlums to my shop, hoping that I'll just hand them.
Yeah, that has not worked yet.
They're like, "Oh, this got a lot of holes."
Yeah, do you see my jacket? I promise it doesn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No,
they try though.
No,
they try.
but this shit worked. So I got like I'm gonna shout out everyone who hooked it up. John from Skunk House, I know he's listening. Dude, the cookies is legit. I wish we still had Swerve on the line because Swerve posted on his wall this morning saying the same. John's cookies is the most authentic cookies I've come across. If you're in the
smelled like the platinum cut. So it looks proper.
Fucking legit as shit is all I have to say. Then I got the Dog's Waltz and the Gia's Little Sister. I got to shout out Dan for hooking those up. I don't know if he's listening right now, but that Gia's Little Sister.
High and Lonesome on that breeding for that shit.
What's that?
High and Lonesome.
Oh, yeah, on the Dog's Waltz. Yeah. And on the Gia's Little Sister, shout outs to Stream Man on that. Scott, have you tried the Gia's Little Sister yet? I know you like Gia.
Yeah, I got a piece of it from Strain Man.
It's it definitely has that like bubble gummy. It's definitely the little sister is all I gotta say. Then I gotta shout out Nestor. I got some white cross with Ghost Train Haze 1. He just ran testers of that. Proper. He found that Ghost Train Haze 1 male. It's interesting. Like at first it was like the white, like it didn't have any smell, but I cured it out. And last night dude, this lime, amazing, like key lime, like Persian lime aroma came out of it, out of control. What do we got over here? There's some Triangle from Fletcher. We got some, I don't know what the hell this is. It's a cookies. Oh, there's the Samoas also. Oh, Adam, these are yours. That's your Underdog. And that Jelly Bean that's been turning heads all weekend. I got to shout out OT, Catskill Bandits. I promised him I would shout him out. And this Catskill Grape is actually pretty goddamn impressive. And then, of course, Chris's Cookie Monster. This is insane bud. Right on. That's my weed box. Oh, sorry. Also, got to shout out Jay from Alpha Chronic. Hooked it up with some nice chem and really cool dude. Cool. Well, let's. You got Reed's number.
That
locked
was
in,
the
Chris?
tackle box. That's our
Cool.
whole new episode. Tackle box.
It's a segment.
Mitch's
It's at
tackle
least a
box.
segment. I'd like it to be. If anyone has any contributions, I'd like to get this thing going. Yeah.
Mitch's tackle box.
Yeah, you get a shout
Load it
out.
up, load it up.
That's a thing, dude. Put
Ooh,
Bud
yeah.
in there. I'll put it in so I know where it is.
I'm
and
going to
you'll
get a
shouted
tackle
out.
box right now.
Dude, I'm telling you. Yeah, boy.
Hello, this is Reed.
Reed, what's going on, bud? It's Mitch. How you doing?
Hey, Mitch, how's it going?
Good. You're live on the Adam Dunn Show. Scott Reach just sat down next to me, close enough to holler in the mic when I am not talking.
What's going on, Reed?
What's up, Scott?
We got Riley here from Down with Dirt. We got Nikka T right next to me. And, of course, Mr. Adam Dunn.
Sitting right here.
What up, Reed?
Nice. What's up, everybody?
So we wanted to... Okay.
Congrats to all you guys for your cup victories.
Yeah, congrats to yourself, sir. Oh, yeah, we got Dave from Elite back here also waving. P-Bud's in studio also, and Bike. I know I just said this, but you weren't listening. So, so tell us about the entry. Tell us, you know, we know TC ran it, but let everyone else know all about this. This is your chance to shine to the entire internet.
Sure. So, yeah, TC makes, we consider the best shatter in Colorado right now, and they reached out to us to do a cup entry. And we love the stableness of their shatter and the clarity. And they've always been a fan of our sour diesel, which we were happen to take down a tray of that and Jelly Bean. And I think it was kind of between Jelly Bean and Lemon G, and we went with the Jelly this time. And, did a nug run and just felt that was going to best represent Green Dream at the cup.
Nice. And so they I heard they didn't necessarily, maybe there was some transcription error, but you didn't necessarily get credited appropriately. Can you credit yourself appropriately here, please?
Well, yeah, I sometimes put us down as Green Dragon for some reason. And we're definitely not Green Dragon. I think that's a dispensary up in the mountains or something, but yeah, it was.
They're stoked. They're pretty stoked right now. They're loving it. They just want a cup. They're like, yeah.
So who has the cup? Do you guys have the cup? Does TC have the cup? Does Green Dragon have the cup? Because they're probably very excited in that
I
case.
think TC has the cup. Unfortunately, myself and partner, we all have newborns, so we weren't present at the cup this year to go up on stage. But hopefully next year and years to come, we'll be there.
Right on. So tell listeners about Green Dream.
Yeah, we're never gonna
tricky.
call it.
Yeah,
Done.
please tell listeners about Green Dream. We got 4 more minutes for you, bud, and it's really like a hidden gem of Boulder. And with tourists coming to town, I know you guys have some sort of plans to go rec at some point. I have Nikka nodding his head here, and I think the one thing Adam and I mentioned it too. Nikka, why don't you talk about running their trim? And why people want Green Dream's trim. And
I love running Green Dream's trim.
Tell the difference to his face is priceless right now. I don't know if we can get him on camera. He's like a dog when you walk in the door.
I just love running trim, but
no, I know that.
But reading Green Dream's
but we always
material is definitely one of the better source materials in the state. Their terpenes are present. And actually, it's one of our rare clients that gives us dry material that we love. We love Green Dream's dry material. We even love their fresh frozen material as well.
So what's the difference between good trim and bad trim?
Well, for us as a commercial entity, producing commercial products for the dispensaries in Colorado, one of the things that we look for is higher yielding trim. But what's more important to me is terpene preservation in trim. And a lot of times the terpenes will kind of correlate with the oils as well. So if we get that trim, 3 weeks down the line, we've lost a lot of the terpenes and a lot of the oils in that material. So, you know, we really like to get the trim as fast as possible if it's dry material, you know, or the fresh frozen material, which tends to retain a lot more of the terpenes and oils.
And Reed, do you do anything special to ensure the quality of your trim? Is that part of your process, or this is just the quality of your cultivation, or how does that work out?
I think it's both. You know, we hand raise everything. We hand trim it. We do a dry trim, and we vine ripen everything. So I think the trim, the sugar leaf, you know, we take off all the fans and we vine ripen, and I think that really brings out all the, you know, the higher quality in the trim material. And then we get it out to, you know, as soon as we trim it, we get it out to our hash manufacturers as quickly as possible. But I mean, the trim is basically cured for at least a week, and then beyond that, we you know, we don't put it in plastic bags ever. We make sure that it's not regaining moisture and then losing it again, and we treat it just like our flower.
I think the key there is not ever putting it in plastic, because it kind of like it sucks in some sort of bad energy right off the bat, and it's like never gonna go.
You know, every time we put it in plastic, our stuff auto butters. So
that's very interesting. So if it's been in plastic at any point, it tends to auto butter. Nikka, do you see any difference in the solventless texture, whether it's more greasy or?
I think, you know, one of the reasons that their material is so, you know, so great is because of that. You know, as soon as the trichomes touch a bag, and this is why we don't like to take bottom of pounds. It's the same, you know, same idea is, you know, that plant material touches the side of the bag, and it's actually going to, you know, drop some trichomes on the side of the bag. So we'll actually lose some of the yield. You'll agitate some of that trim material before we've actually agitated it. So, you know, the less bags that it touches, you know, the more that it's just trimmed to, you know, to us, basically, the higher quality product that we're able to achieve.
And I know, Adam, we've talked about how, like, static electricity definitely can pull trichomes. It can move mountains of hash and such.
Quite literally, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's also interesting that, like, for instance, haze varieties, they eat plastic, right? They'll eat rubber. So they're like, there's a caustic reaction going on there. So like certain varieties, like if you put a rubber band around a bud of haze, of a pure haze variety, come back a week later, it'll just fall
no
apart.
Shit.
Yeah, it's got like it's very heavy, like, so it's caustic. It's got some sort of
some of the terps in there, yeah.
So can imagine if it's in a plastic bag, it's not doing very good justice for the plant in the first place, you know, especially if they're reacting to each other.
That's really interesting.
So there you go.
Well, right on, Reed. I want to thank you for your time. I don't know. We got 10 seconds left. If you want to let the listeners know how to find Green Dream, when you guys are going rec, etc., please lay it down, brother.
Yeah, we're at 6700 Lookout Road in Gun Barrel, northeast part of Boulder. We'll be going dual license co-location this summer, so we'll be able to serve both medical and rec. And you know, come by, stop by, and say hello to us. We're around Monday through Sunday, 11 to 7, 11 to 6 on the weekends.
And you guys are like...
oh,
go ahead.
What's that?
You guys are like right around the corner from Way to Grow, right?
Exactly. We're right near Way to Grow.
So there you go. You can stop by Green Dream, and then you can stop by Way to Grow, and then you can holler at Riley. And we got a Way to Grow spot here, Riley. I'm going to let you handle it since you work there. You're already getting paid by the man.
Hold it down.
Tell people why Way to Grow is the best place to get your grow supplies, other than the fact that you
Cheese
can go
Louise. Besides Cheese Louise,
is Cheese Louise always? What's the deal with the Cheese Louise there? Hold on, we can hold this because that's my favorite food truck.
At that ad agency.
Isn't it over? It's in the ice cream shop over next to King Supers off of Lookout Road.
Cool. That's important to know because I like food trucks, and that's a bomb ass food truck. Anyway, Riley. So while you're going and you get the Green Dream, and then you get the Cheese Louise, and then you go holler at Riley at Way to Grow, and he's gonna do what? Tell us, Riley.
I mean, I think we have probably some of the best growers for employees there in the state. Anybody that's working there is a full-time grower or was a full-time grower, and everyone there is super knowledgeable. So we'll hook you up with the best deals, and we'll share true, unbiased knowledge. We won't push products on you that we don't believe in. So come through.
Corey, you owe him $5K, I think now.
Yeah, yeah, that's not exactly the rate, but let me know if that becomes the rate. Right on, Reed. We want to thank you for hopping on the air. We hear you're having a big meeting going on, and I want to wish you the best of luck in that, bro.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the call.
Yeah, man. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Right on. And now we have we're gonna hit Joey Stein up.
Winners
all day. Yeah.
Now we need our winner button.
Nick, did you know Joey?
Yeah, I know Joey real well. We've been processing for Joey and Natural Mystic caregivers for over 3 years now, I think.
Did you process what he won with?
Not this year.
Not this year.
No, this year I believe he won with his capsules.
Yeah, he won with 2. He won with capsules and flowers. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then he got first place in medical for his solventless, and he actually processed that himself. So big up Joey. I know he's been watching the extract artist for a long time, but he's definitely he's proven himself and killing it.
Waltz, I think is what he won for the extract.
Do you know Joey, Scott?
Dude, Joey's a good friend of mine. Did a
See?
bunch of testing for RD in our early years. Still rocks a bunch of our strains. You know, he's part of the whole DNA, RareDankness, Elemental family, you know, so.
Right on. I used to get him confused with the Greeley Joey, Mile High Joey. And that was going on for a while.
Gobi.
Yeah, from Gobo, yeah.
I was going to ask him what blueberry he used.
Let's, why don't you cut it before his voicemail picks up, and I'll text him back.
Hello?
Hey, Joey, what's going on? It's Mitch with the Adam Dunn Show.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. You got a couple minutes for us?
Yeah, definitely.
Right on. You're on the line with Riley from Down with Dirt, Nikka T, Scott from RareDankness, me, Adam. We got P-Bud in studio. We got Dave from Elite Cannabis, and as always, Mr. Bricoli. So you're in good company here. And we all want to congratulate you on your 2 wins.
Nice, thank you. Thanks. Congratulations to all the winners.
Thanks very much.
Back at you.
So tell us which ones we were just discussing. Which cups did you take home?
We took home the best hash and best edible for the medical, and yeah.
So what was the nice?
Stop boasting so much.
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly. You know, it's so funny because a lot of growers like to be extremely braggadocious and proud, and for some reason, a lot of the best ones are quite the opposite, and it's always refreshing. So, a pleasure.
Yeah.
So tell us about your entries. Tell us about what you put together there, what you submitted.
Definitely. The active or the Natural Mystic CBD capsules was the entry that we had that was for the edible, and we've actually won previous years with that same entry for the highest CBD edible. And really what it is it's activated BHO and butane, I guess you could say. And it's, we've been using it with a lot of cancer patients and different types of patients, and it's been working really well. But that was our edible entry. And then on the hash entry, it was a mixture of Afghan blueberry and a strain called Sour Waltz. And it was a mixture of those.
Was that RareDankness Afghan blueberry? Scott is curious to know.
Yeah, it's actually it's an old school DJ short strain, as far as I know. The blueberry that we run, and it just has these amazing blueberry terps. It's an old DJ short strain, as far as I know.
And did those you found those blueberry terps? You were able to transfer them and preserve them in the hash. You didn't lose those in the washing.
Yeah, definitely. They came through really well. I noticed on that particular extraction that on the inhale you could taste the blueberries, and then on the exhale you could kind of taste the dog waltz to come through, and so it was it really came through nice.
So like Nikka and Adam, I want to, and obviously Joey too. When we're talking about preserving the flavors and the terpenes when you're making water hash, I know it's about minimizing the contact time with the water, because those dissolve terpenes.
Keeping your temperatures.
Keeping your
constant.
temp low. But
for sure.
Are there certain terpenes that just seem to be more fragile? You know what I mean? Are there ones that it just doesn't, you lose those?
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah, from my perspective, especially things like, that are waxier, that don't have as many oils and as many terpenes, say like the Blue Dream that we're, pretty familiar with out here. It tends to not have as much oils on the inside of that trichome. The outside of the trichome has a thicker, waxy cuticle wall, basically. And so I think, that strains like that actually, the terpenes are removed that much faster.
Well, when you get those real foamy, aromatic ones that actually you're like, wow, I wish I could capture this foam on top.
When you're
it's
washing it
really
and
nice.
you're like, yeah.
That's probably the one that's losing the terp.
Oh, obviously, obviously.
And then the ones that are just kind of, it goes through it they're pretty tough, and they don't really emit off of that because like you said, probably the thickness of the walls are important, because some are thinner than that's just the way they are.
Definitely.
And they're going to be more fragile.
But I'd also like to say, big up to the growers, because that's really where the terpene preservation starts, so especially with someone like Joey who's growing his own and processing his own, that's really where the variables can be controlled to create an amazing product and retain those terpenes.
And Joey, do you grow any differently, or do you take any special precautions when you're going to be running hash for the cup or hash in general from something than you would if you were doing it for flower, or is it pretty much the same process for you?
Yeah, just the same process we do for all of our stuff. Besides the fact that we use whole plants, of course we wouldn't be able to sell our typical stuff because people just can't afford or don't want to spend that much money on hash. It'd be like $100 a gram. But yeah, definitely we just use whole flower.
Yeah, I think in this room everybody's in agreement on that point.
Water hash should always be $100 a gram when it's done well.
I turned my entire garden into cup entry stuff this year.
It's just
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling sometimes when you actually get it all down.
If I actually calculated how much it would cost me for the free grams that I passed out at the cup, it was $120 to $150 a gram for sure. Is what we passed out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But that's why hash, to me, that's why we love it on this show. I think that's why it's sort of a lot of times I know I bonded with everybody who I bonded with in this room before the show, like Nikka, Riley, Scott, and Adam. Definitely it was over hash. Hash is sort of that thing that it's such a sacrifice.
What's the Bubble Man saying?
The messengers.
Plants. That's right. Cannabis is the messenger. And
Cannabis is the messenger, and hash is the message.
Right, it's an old Watson thing.
Yeah.
Watson passed it on to Bubble Man, or passed it on to us, and we all forgot. And none of us can remember.
And everyone misquotes it.
Yeah.
I just got an email from that gentleman yesterday.
Mr. Watson?
It's kind of interesting.
Who's that?
Watson.
Yeah.
Dave Watson.
Well, that's the way he is. He is an interesting guy.
What'd you say, Scott? Who wants to come on the show?
What was interesting is he didn't remember me yet. He's the one who kicked me off the stand at the Legends dinner.
We want to do an all hash episode.
Right. That sounds about right.
We want to do an all hash episode because we had Mila on last week, and she was talking about how, and Adam shares the view. He represents the view, I believe, that hash is describing a process that where it is pressed, and preserved appropriately, and then it becomes hash at the end of that, yes?
For sure. And we're talking about everything's kind of concentrates, and then hash is more a subcategory of that. And being traditional hash never was left in in powder form forever. It was always it was stored like that until you wanted to use it, until you wanted to sell it to somebody or transfer it to some place or do something with it, because it stores better that way. But as far as finished product, when you're actually making, if you sit with any guy in Morocco, he's gonna press his hash before he smokes it. They don't even with keef. Keef isn't really keef. Keef is just tobacco mixed with trikes that are on flour that he chops up in a bowl and smokes in a pipe. So that's kind of misquote from day one. So nobody smokes hash dry, except for Watson. he started the whole thing.
I agree with that.
He started
according, as far as old school hash. But I think one of the things that, myself and Essential Extracts has tried to do here in the industry is bring hash to the market again. Bubble hash took a second seat to BHO about 6-7 years ago. And that's really what our goal has been, is to create, a water extracted product, a mechanically separated product that looks like BHO, that's not pressed like hash, that doesn't have that brown, mildewy smelling, appearance, yada, yada, yada.
Sure.
And so, I think that today's hash is different, and every day it's evolving.
No, it
That's
is different.
the cool thing about hash is
it's totally
we're
different.
learning every single day. We thought we knew it 50 years ago, 100 years ago, but
1,000 years ago, man.
Yeah, we're still learning it every day, even myself.
So yeah, but in the sense of the idea of traditional hash, like the one guy, what's his name? Canna
Hash.
Yeah.
And we met up, and definitely he comes from the old world of, he can't get his mind around what's going on here, because to him he's just this one guy.
Except he wants my product to press.
There's no doubt.
One lonely guy pressing up his own hash and trying to teach people, but at the same time, he definitely nailed it on a few, but it's really strain specific. That's the problem, is most people don't get that. Like, in Morocco and stuff, they don't go and try a new strain every year. They just pick what works, and that's it. They keep rocking that shit forever. You know what I mean? It'll evolve over time, but they're not about to experiment on a whole crop and be like, well, that didn't work. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't sometimes, and hash is really specific to every strain. So
let's bring it back to that. I do want to holler at Joey while he's on the line.
Yes.
So, Joey, do you find that there are certain strains you prefer to run for hash? Kind of like on that note, is this something you stick with?
Yeah, definitely. There was actually a run that I ran specifically that I was going to use for one of my entries, and it just didn't work out for me. It's like those the terps didn't come through on the strains, and so I agree 100%. There's only certain strains that are really the kings of hash.
And what I really like about your entry is that you mixed two strains. Now you meaning you put in mixed flowers of both, or you crossed those strains and ran those flowers?
Yeah, I actually put in whole plants of both strains. One trick that I did use, they kind of, I think, put my the terps over the top of my entry, is I actually flushed out a plant of the Afghan blueberry that was about 45 days in. That's when it has its most explosive terp profile for the blueberries. And I actually ran that early plant with the whole run to kind of get more terps to come through.
Everyone here is nodding their head. I think that's everyone agrees that's like a really brilliant.
Mixes are the only thing that are going to win in the future here.
That's the next level.
That's
yeah,
kind of
both of our entries were mixes as well.
Trick,
yeah. Nikka, do you agree on that kind of general approach?
100%, especially because this time running the LEDs in my own garden, I was doing a bunch of R&D this time, and I took it 63 days. And to be completely honest, I wished I had taken it 50 days, just for the hash. The hash just came out a little bit more amber in color. If I had taken it a little bit less days, it would have come out more clear in color.
That's a really
interesting. It
interesting.
also would have been less sticky.
Yeah.
Did you notice a different terp profile on the LEDs?
As far as, it's hard for me to pinpoint the LEDs yet, because I just ran my first run with them, and I actually burnt a lot of my tops because the LEDs were way more intense than I was expecting them to be. But just as far as I've noticed so far, the oil content is more in the LEDs. It's stickier and it's stinkier cannabis. And actually, it's lighter green in color too.
There's
So
a better trike profile with some of the newer LEDs. They still haven't got the girth or weight dialed into them.
Yeah, no, that's
use them as a checkerboard type of pattern, especially in rooms that are high THC strain specific anyway. I mean, it's going to increase the resin profile across the board.
Absolutely. I was running the Black Dogs for a while, and I still do a little bit of R&D with them, but I noticed everything had a slightly sweeter smell to it, and trike content, I mean, without like looking side by side in an HID one, it was different. And these are strains that I've been running for.
Same with the 315.
Yeah, I was going to say, Adam, you're finding a similar thing with the CMHs. I think it's just the heat.
That's my next thing. I want to play with the ceramics.
Yeah, we're going to
next.
get
It's
Joey, what are you growing under?
It's important. That makes the flavors maybe don't.
It's all HPSs and metal halides.
So you're running old school still and still crushing it. So that gives people some optimism. We'll get back to the gear thing in our next segment because we're going to do Riley and Nikka. But Joey, I want to thank you for coming on, and again, congratulations on the big win. We should do like a winner's dinner. Oh man, that's rhymes. I know Adam likes anything that rhymes.
Chicken dinner. Yo, big up Joey for real.
Yeah.
Much love, Joey.
Winter chicken dinner.
Yeah, for sure. Right on,
Appreciate
bro.
it. Thank all you guys for sure.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show, man, and we'd love to have you on again. We'll be in touch, man.
Definitely.
Congrats.
Sunday at Cracker Barrel.
Sunday at Cracker Barrel,
Wow,
the winner chicken
I'll
dinner.
probably miss that one, but
No, hey, let's shout out Incredibols again. The dank edibles in Colorado. Do you guys eat Incredibles?
okay,
Yes.
you guys favorite flavors?
I don't yet because I don't have a non-dairy one yet.
That's true.
I'd love to do some work.
Oh
with
no!
them,
Did you see the new vegan bar?
Oh no, I haven't.
Check this out, Nikka T.
Nikka T.
I believe
Wait,
it's
they came
called,
out with a new vegan bar. And
it's called the
they don't wanna use
Makiba
our,
Bar.
They don't want to use our hat.
Holler, we can holler at them. Makiba Bar. It's pumpkin seed, hazelnut, oats, almonds, cashews, walnuts, pecans, Brazil nuts, sunflower seed, hemp seed. 30 milligrams THC, 10 milligrams CBD.
Sounds a little hippie to me. Throw some
It's
chocolate in there for me.
super hippie. Make the Nikka bar.
Just dunk it in some.
Dunk it in the chocolate.
No,
Dunk it in their
that sounds
fountain.
bomb. I'm stoked that
into their
Incredibols
fountain.
is putting out a vegan edible because
Yeah, there you go,
it's
bro.
needed.
See?
It's needed in our state.
On point. All y'all dreadlock hippies, get at that Makiba bar. Right on.
Or formerly dreadlocked.
No, well, I'm talking about the current ones. Nikka's just a health food dude. I dig it. Right on. Well, let's.
So
bring
they're
that-
available. How many shops do you think? How many shops do you think carry
Dude,
this stuff? Everyone, right?
I was gonna just read that, but that would take up the whole next segment.
You could read the
It's
whole thing,
long.
but a lot.
We'll
Hundreds of shops, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They
Like,
gotta
it
be
would
over
take the next
300.
segment.
I'd say almost
Yeah.
400 shops, something like that.
If you can't find them, you're in a bad dispensary. Like, go to another one. Right on. Well, let's bring it back. So we do have chilling with us in this last segment here. Oh, second to last segment. We got Riley from Down with Dirt and Nikka T. So you guys took it in the recreational solvent list, yeah?
That could have went so bad.
Recreational solvent list
You guys took it
category.
in,
And so that was Riley. Who did you grow the flowers for it, or Nikka? You grew the flowers, or
I grew the flowers.
That's Riley talking.
It was all a test run actually of some seed varieties that I've been messing around with, and it was 16 different phenotypes mixed together, all trim run.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Nikka, as a hash maker, how did that affect it?
You know, as the processing company for this material.
Processing company, excuse me.
As soon as I'm a hash maker as well, but we do this as a team. Our whole team processed this material. Just like Riley's team, he's got trimmers on his team as well. It's all a group effort to make it really right. Especially after talking to some of the other people that gave us material to enter. We saw a lot of fan leaf in a lot of the material that they gave us to enter, and our yields weren't as good as the Down with Dirt material. So immediately when looking at the material, it was just covered. So we were stoked about that. The yield looked amazing. The terpene
And when you say
profile,
covered, you mean like visibly white?
Yeah, just
from the
visibly
trichomes.
white. Yeah.
And Riley, can you say anything about that strain?
Well,
specifically,
it's not. I wouldn't say so much about the strains because it was such a variety and a kind of a mixed pack.
But it's got that reversed white.
Yeah, and I think it's more about, honestly, it's about the quality control. I owe it to 2 or 3 people who helped me, and they listened to what I told them to do, and they did it exactly how I wanted to. They made sure there was no leaf in there that didn't have trichomes on it, and that's like huge.
Right. Right.
Definitely, and what I was about to say is the terpene profile that came through this huge variety of mixes was just amazing. I personally smelt, a lot of the flow. The flow, overtook it a lot, but then I also smelt the diagonal, which is his OG times sour. I also smelt the true OG, just the straight OG in there.
Which is the Coal Creek? Is that what I was reading on Facebook today?
Man.
Right. Let's break this down. Actually,
we got. If there's ever a room to break it down, this is probably the room.
I mean, as far as I know, the story from the horse's mouth is that the Coal Creek Kush was a clone-only cut from SoCal. It didn't have any name attached to it at this time. It wasn't named Larry. It wasn't named Tahoe. It wasn't named any of this. It was a SoCal clone-only OG Kush. It was given to a brethren of ours.
What time was that? Era? We should say.
I would say that's around 10 years ago, at least, as far
So
as I understand.
94, 93,
According to
94?
Jay, yeah.
And then
10 years ago.
This cut was grown in Coal Creek Canyon for a long time, for the last 10 years. And so it was given the name Coal Creek Kush. Just like, the Ghost was given its name, just like the SFV was given its name due to its region, a lot of what we see in OG Kush is, phenotypes are named by the region because a certain grower is going to grow it completely differently than the grower that he got it from in LA, and it's going to look differently, and he's going to call it something different. I personally don't like that. I don't like the rename game, obviously, but it happens, as we all know. And so, you know, as far as I know,
bag seed.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the OG game gets into the bag seed chain. Big
definitely,
time.
somebody pops a seed from a pound of OG and it turns out pretty close, and they're still going to call it the Skywalker OG. Well, you know, even if it was a selfed seed of the Skywalker, it may not be the exact same. But you know, as far as I know, Coal Creek Kush was dubbed by a gentleman up in Coal Creek Canyon. It's a clone-only OG. I don't think we have to go too much further than that. We don't have to put a name on it. It's the Coal Creek Kush now. It's an amazing clone-only cut.
That's where the problem begins, though, because after Dunn here won the Cup, we had not only that batch of OG coming in, but we had 2 other different cuts that were coming in that used to be called Skywalker. And originally, when OG Dan came out to Colorado in roughly 2009, 2010, all he had was that one cut. All he knew was that it was true OG, or at least that's what he had told me and 1 or 2 other people. That's still debatable between me and a few other friends, but he was kind of unclear about it. It was the only cut he had, and he gave it to Brad, who then sold it as Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Once we won the Cup, he started kind of, you know, renaming things as you do in that business, and according to a couple of my friends, he has passed the cut as both things. So the controversy is now, like, we have these 2 OG cuts. One that I know as true OG that I've used in all my projects, and then we have the true Coal Creek Kush, the one that was from Jay up in the mountains that we all know. So it's kind of a
true and the Coal
toss-up.
Creek are 2 different cuts, though.
They are 2 different cuts. I agree, but there are multiple people in this community at this point
That have them confused?
That have them confused.
I see.
And because
100%.
they keep using those names, it's throwing everyone
Let's talk
off.
about the man who won the Cup with the Coal Creek.
Well, like you said, JP was obviously the source of that from me. And to make the story even more convoluted and stupid, as these things get, before I had left, I wasn't sure exactly if I was going to be able to make that because that thing was so sticky and so close, and I was like coming off the vine, and I was like, oh my God, is this really going to be like one of those years where it's just 2 days, 3 days too fucking close, and I have to leave in 24 hours. So I started making phone calls, and I called one friend of mine and went to his house and grabbed a few things and wasn't too happy with them, and kind of was like, wow, am I going to really have this thing where I'm going to have something that's definitely not going to win the Cup, or am I going to just fucking go for it? So I went for it, but he didn't know that. So, of course, he just assumed right off the bat that it was his cut and started putting it on Facebook that he had it for $5,000 before I'd even like got off the stage or something. And I was like, $5,000, boom, got that cut, you know? And it was like, so my friend calls me and says, there's a guy selling this cut. And I'm all, what? That doesn't, are you kidding me? No. And then it made sense, and I was like, got in touch with him, and then he was, of course, not believing me, and it was kind of one of those, oh my God. Now, so then you have a hater out there hating on me because he thinks it's his, and it's not. And I was like, it was clearly not, you know what I mean? Clearly, because his was like a red Kush or something, just something that didn't make any sense. It was like, it wasn't going to happen.
I put that San Fernando cut and the Ghost cut into the Ward, Davillain, Rollinsville communities like in 2003. When I got him from Weedzilla, he was in SoCal.
Yeah, big ups for that, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't have
definitely,
any of these
big ups to Scott because
Scott
is one of the first people that gave me my first OG cut here in Colorado.
You know, Zilla was responsible for so much of the stuff that I got back in the day, and I mean, he was like a San Diego boy, you know. And,
I still to this day grow cuts that Scott gave me
awesome
5 years ago.
With Zilla's, I got all those cuts for nothing, you know. Like we just everybody over the years, we just traded cuts, you know.
Scott's one of those.
It was all cool until somebody became famous with it.
Scott's one of those dudes, and Adam's one of those dudes. Nikka, you're one of those dudes. Riley, I think you've been one of those dudes, and no one knew. But it's just where when you show up in the scene, it like it raises the bar. You know, the standards of the community are raised when they see what actual good work looks like. And I think it's a lot of these little incremental steps that's taken it from where it was in 2009 to where it's at now, all over to lead us to the point. This is the first Denver Cup where I've seen all the Cali people on Facebook giving respect and being like, "Wow, Denver, coolest place in America." You know, you agree, Nikka? You have more Facebook connects than me.
No, it was big. I've seen a lot of positive energy about this cup. You know, it's one of the few that we haven't seen too many people saying, "Oh, you know, fuck High Times, it's rigged," and yada yada yada.
No, it was
I think it was a well done experience.
Definitely for how many people, especially. I mean, it was crazy how many people. So
it was insane.
There's no stampedes when it rained.
No.
You know, like
Yeah.
there were some things that could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
Horribly wrong. And I think, you know, High Times
Well,
succeeded.
we're glad that the weather cleared up the second day, because the first day when definitely it was like,
brutal.
wow, we're rammed.
Well, we
inside.
always have good
We're
weather on 420, though. You have to just have faith. Like Colorado, it'll always like snow or be a torrential downpour
did
right
it.
before 420.
Always. It
And
seems
then
that way,
on
doesn't it?
420, the gods smile on us here.
This year especially.
Yeah, for
no,
sure.
It was definitely a nice change from Saturday
It was
to
like,
Sunday. Because, I mean, Saturday came and I didn't think we were going to still open up shop on Sunday.
I love Saturday. We sold like 120 hoodies after that freaking rain.
Yeah,
I sold
dude.
out. I definitely sold out of hoodies.
You see,
It
yeah.
was like 30 degrees. It was like bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
That's one of my big takes that Adam and I were talking about this cup in particular is like, Riley, you're going to see a lot more jewelry orders is all I'm going to say. Like,
I can only hope so.
The community definitely became got a nice chunk of wealthier, I think, in the past this year. You know,
Oh, for sure.
I think everybody's booth did at least pretty well. I'm looking at. I wasn't at my booth. I won cups, but I wasn't at my booth.
Seed companies fucking kill it. That's all I
Crush.
can say.
Can you
jealous.
broadly guesstimate anything for us, Scott?
A lot of hoodies.
Enough to pay my tax bill.
Yeah, that's all right.
Pretty bad. So.
That's rad.
Pamela must be psyched.
Because I did not make enough to pay my taxes
Yeah.
at the booth. But I also, you know, at Essential Extracts, we really just sell merch at the booth. You know, we don't sell hash. We
Right,
don't
you're not
sell-
selling hash. Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
sell
yeah.
We
seeds.
didn't sell any seeds either. We gave away seeds. Sold these nice prints of our strains.
Yeah, there you go, Scott.
There you
Scott's
go,
a really
Scott.
nice. And
Good
by
job.
the way, if you need pictures, holler at Kind Reviews. Your boy right here got the
Actually,
camera
that's funny. I just called Rye on my way over here so he could send me those photos.
He's not Kind Reviews anymore. You holler at me, buddy.
Oh.
He's Cannabis Encyclopedia.
He still did take the photos for the
Well,
cup, correct?
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah.
I saw him
But
for a second. Came
Mitch won't just come up and says at the top.
Not the full. I mean, all due respect to Rye, he definitely understands what he's doing way fucking better than me. But I do have some neat tricks for certain types of shots.
So you coming over to my house after this and taking some photos?
We're gonna check out. Actually, it's a great segue to our next segment, Nikka. Wow.
What's that?
Age. That's what we're doing after this.
Oh,
We're
yeah, I
checking
forgot.
out the American Glass Expo.
That sounds good. Maybe we'll have to get the limo together and go cruise over.
Dude, you still have the limo? Because I gotta. If we could.
Hey, of course, Tony's.
Do you
Is Tony
all wanna-
awake yet? Because
Tony's
I
right here.
called him this morning trying to see if he could take some
Is
photos.
that a permanent thing?
It's a permanent thing.
Oh shit! I thought that like the chai was only for Cup Weekend.
No, the limo will be around all the time. So that's our boy.
Is the chai coming back?
Chai's maybe.
Yeah,
We'll see.
much love to Adam Dunn for providing the limo to some of my artists that were in town from Jamaica and Hawaii and stuff throughout the weekend. So we
gotta
appreciate
use-
this whole community. You know, it's
I
all
feel
love.
bad when he's not driving around. You know, it's like he's
Yeah.
just sitting around because
Be working.
he's not allowed to come in. Otherwise, he's not your driver anymore, right? So, now thank you for making a good show at the end of the thing. It was hard. It's always hard on a Sunday at the end of the whole weekend to like really pull together something.
everyone's been smoking,
especially without a flyer.
Especially without a flyer. But that's proof.
No, but
in
I
the
think we
pudding.
did it. You
That's
know?
proof in the pudding right there that we don't even need. We
Dude,
don't
my
need a flyer.
DJ just left. I'm like, yeah, see, you didn't even know. I had a DJ come in from New York. He was like, I thought this thing was starting at 4. He left.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how we do it.
You have to roll.
You have
with
to
it. You have
just
to
roll with it and be with,
that's
everyone's a little high. Take a few more dabs. It'll get there.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, that was the other nice thing is our artists were very understanding of some of the craziness that happens during this Cup week. And that was the
sure.
other cool thing. They came through early with me at every event because I was going from Cup to event every single night.
so you need your own limo. You need your own
It
limo at all
fucking
times.
happened again, bro. I miss Jadon now.
You missed him.
Just like I was like, oh, he's playing 3 times. There's no fucking way I'm gonna miss him. I'm definitely catching him. Just like I miss Vegas. This is getting insane. There's a curse. This is a curse.
I don't know what to say other than I'm going to keep bringing amazing new artists out to Colorado.
Yeah.
That's one of my goals.
All right, here's what we're going to do. You and me, Assassin. We're going to bring Assassin out, and I'm not going to fucking miss that
I
one.
actually know Assassin's manager very well.
Let's
so we can
do it. There you go. Speaking of curses broken, Mr. Scott Reach, you broke a curse, yeah?
Hell yeah.
Come hop close to the mic, bud.
Yes. We have cups in every
state, every place they've done one of these things, even a beautiful little Spanibus trophy this year. But yeah, Colorado has always been kind of my curse. I've always just attributed it to, people can recognize my weed here, so it's easy to be able to pick that out. But yeah, man, we took 2 awards home. The CBD award, which was a total surprise because I don't do CBD strains, and then the U.S. Sativa Cup with Ghost Train Haze with the guys over at Green Man Cannabis. Corey freaking killed it. He's been growing a bunch of RareDankness this last year. I've seen Scott's over there, Leroy. I know they do Ghost Train and a couple other things. So.
Which number Ghost Train is that?
The one. One is the one that keeps taking everything.
It's got that lime. Like you were saying earlier, I remember processing it for the farm and actually processing it for Green Man real recently. But that lime smell on a sativa is just something out of this world, especially when it comes out in the hash.
Yeah, it's one of those spectacular strains, and the phenotypes break down to where everybody seems to be choosing that same high THC, pheno.
Imagine that.
Yeah, Kyle's got it. The guys up at Greener Tomorrow in Seattle have that exact, same pheno. It's the one I chose. That was the high THC here in Colorado for 2 years for high times. I think still sets at number like 7. But yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing to see somebody take your seeds, whether it's an indica, a sativa, hybrid, whatever, and grow it better than you. I mean, that beat. I was in that same category with the same strain. It beat me. So I mean, it's like tip of the hat to them,
Big up. What's the cross, Scott?
It's Ghost OG, and then my Neville's Rec male that I started way back in 2003, which I just got the train wreck mother back from David just in like the last month. So we're going to start doing some OG train wreck crosses and another back cross with that Neville's Rec into the train wreck. So, working on a lot of stuff still.
Sounds good.
Yeah, you got the room excited. So let's take it on. We're about to talk about glass because Age is in town. And for folks who are listening who don't know what Age is, it's the American Glass Expo. It's another trade show for the glass industry, but much more towards the artistic side, what we call heady glass. Not your average like cheap gas station glass, or not your plastic bongs.
Talking about pieces that are thousands and thousands.
Yeah, this is for the really high end artistic work, and it's been in Las Vegas forever.
It's first year here, right?
Yeah, first time, right? Everyone think so? Yeah.
Yes, first time.
Was it here last year? Was it here last year? It might have been here last year.
I know the big show was here last year.
Right. But anyway, the whole game's different this year, obviously.
Was it?
And Age has always been the cool one. Because, Adam, we went to an Age together.
Yeah.
And Age is the cool one because
it's more the side. It's more the private rooms. Everybody's got their own spot in the hotel. Yeah. You go into everybody's spot, and they've got everything set up.
Yeah, it's not like the trade show vibe where it's like a big room with tables. It's like almost like a motel type deal where there's like different rooms. Yeah, like everyone's room. Everyone has a suite, right? And you sleep in the one room, and then like the main entrance room is your showroom. But you can like close it or go in the other room, and you can test the merchandise, and it's it's way cooler.
Is it like science class or is it art class?
Mostly art. There's like Hitman will be there, of course.
Like Salt and Davillain.
Yeah, definitely. But there's a lot of it's really cool for buying like collector glass. People will sell pieces out of their collection there as well, which is super cool. So is it that same format? Does anyone know if it's the same format, or is it a trade show now?
It's at the Crown Plaza, so it must be similar. Must be similar.
Oh, nice! Right on.
The funny thing is that it's at the airport, which got me a little bit like, really?
And it's not open to the public.
It is not open to the public, but
the limo.
Yeah, Mitch tip. Mitch tip. Mitch tip. You got if you have a business card, you're good to go. And them shits can come.
First name matches your first.
Yeah. Overnight from a lot of these business card online things. I think there's even machines places where you can get business cards.
Right at the door, they have one. I think.
Yeah, so if you can't figure that one out, then I apologize, but you can't make it. Age is good. I'm excited. I want to go down there. I love Ham's work. I want to go check out some Ham stuff.
Dude,
Adam.
I have to.
I saw Salt at the big show, and Lugan's been a friend of mine for like the last year, and he's going to do a Salt skunk now.
That's fucking badass.
Yeah, right. Matt Robertson up in Canada, Emmy Glassworks, did me a cool little skunk, but he's the guy that does the giraffes on tricycles and all that crazy stuff. Nice. And yeah, I guess Lugan saw it and was like, "Yo, man, let me make you a piece." So it's like, how do you say no to Salt?
No, and Salt's one of those amazing artists who does like, how would you describe it? Like almost cartoony characters.
Like creatures.
Yeah, creatures.
Eating other creatures.
Yeah, a lot of teeth.
Stuff with teeth and claws.
A lot of teeth and claws.
Yeah, like clay,
Looks
exactly,
like
like clay, but glass, exactly. That's what I love about glass. You know, I think I'm not
the diversity.
Exactly. I'm not from an artistic family. My wife's from a super artistic family, and like they talk about art stuff. I went to a museum yesterday for the first time in 10 years, so I want to practice being cultured now. So
I saw that.
Yeah, you seen that?
You posted some stuff.
I sent it to my girl.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we got to go see Frida.
It's tight, dude. There's like one picture, and you like we stared at it for like 20 minutes. We got in an hour before it closed, and we like, whatever. But that said, what I think is really cool about glass is it is the only tangible medium in which you can work in three dimension and through the full color spectrum. Yeah. That's you can do that with 3D modeling for sure, but you can sculpt and do things in 3 dimensions. You can paint in all colors, and you can paint on a sculpture to accomplish that. But glass is the only thing where with one medium you're really accomplishing all that. And so it really
and even interdimensional in some aspects where you put stuff inside of stuff.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, multiple nested and make it functional at the end of that. It's really the most limitless medium because of all those variables, And I think that's where we're getting at, and that's why you see such a diversity of styles and stuff. Everything from like straight up, people are exploring that dimensional aspect.
Well, the millies and stuff just blow your mind. Sometimes.
Oh, and then you
You're
get
just like, how? What? Like,
Big Pamela just got a marble. Like she's got on the marble trip.
Oh, dude, marbles are where it's at.
Well, she was having this discussion as we were going in Delusions one day. Like, I don't understand why everybody's so fascinated with these marbles. And I'm like, well, once you look at them, like the depth of some of this stuff is pretty cool. Yep. And she started looking at some of the orbs that they're doing, the larger size ones. Yep. And of course, we walk out of there with one.
Yeah, big shout out to Adam G.
At the show.
Adam G is one of my favorite glass blowers and real down, homie. And yeah, he kicked me down one of those nice. It's first marble I've got.
Yeah, man,
they're just
cool.
incredible.
It's very cool. I have friends here that were Coloradix Glassworks that have been blowing for 15
guys,
years. Gabe Dorsey and Eli and Keenan, all those guys. And we were having a talk the other night about how there's so many new talented people, not just in the glass world, but in cannabis and everything. It's like, we sometimes are considered top of our game. And I always say, man, there's always somebody out there doing it easier than what I'm doing it and better, all the time. And that's what should always keep you striving to do better and not just get complacent. But Gabe is like one of the most colorful, cartoony, just badass wigwags and reverse lines.
It's definitely some of my favorite glass ever, man.
And, he's telling me the other night that he's going out and buying some new tools and trying out some new stuff. And I was like, hey, man, they got this thing called YouTube. You can watch videos and learn exactly how those guys are doing it,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's another thing we talk about on the show. We're definitely like in a renaissance right now. This is what a renaissance is like. You have, that phrase Renaissance man. You have people who are knowledgeable across disciplines. And that, I think, describes everybody I'm fucking looking at in this room.
Speaking about that, it's like this all started on the forums. Like, that's what it's about, is like sharing that knowledge with each other. And that's like where I found Scott originally, really, Back to that whole Stone Mountain thing when I walked in, basically, I got to sit across from you at that table too, and that was life-changing for me as far as what cannabis can be.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was, that was the transition from, spending years of hiding and being worried about, having your door kicked in and, getting to sit down and not be moonshine anymore, get to be Scott and do my thing, and then have people come in and go, "You're moonshine, aren't you?"
Exactly. That was the best.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, okay, yeah. And it's liberating on so many aspects, and now to be able to see where this industry is going. I mean, just in the last two months, I've started talking to the Denver Post for the cannabis, to be one of their people, and I'm getting calls from like science magazines and technology magazines and stuff. It's no longer like, you know, skunk or cannabis culture or whatever. It's mainstream media calling you for,
sure.
You know, like where's this industry going technology wise? So
Oh yeah, we're being all taken real seriously now.
Yeah.
That was an interesting little bit at the Cups. You guys catch that bit at the end about the mainstream media? It was like right at the end of the awards ceremony.
Oh, all the interviews with everybody afterwards?
No. I mean, like they're on stage, they were like they made a pretty dramatic statement.
You mean Mr. Skies?
Yeah, Dan Sky made a pretty dramatic statement.
I wasn't there, but
condemning mainstream media for sort of just hopping on late, being like carpetbaggers and now like hopping on when it's time to, you know, okay, we'll do Mitch's soapbox for fucking 20 seconds we got here, you know. Like I'm on this new shit, man. Like it's like to some level where this show tries to break the stereotype very hard, but in general we're being held back as a community. You know, I do believe I have a degree in anthropology from a state school in New Jersey, so I'm allowed to say this shit. But I do believe, you know, we're a voluntary community just like a religion. We all believe very similar things. We have ethics that we don't even discuss out loud that we share in common. We have appearance standards that we share in common. You know, there's it's definitely a distinct culture, and unfortunately, because of how it's been, we kind of have made ourselves into clowns. And, you know, it's time to step our game up, you know, and part of that is how we get represented and how we represent ourselves in media and how we allow media to represent us. And when they do a story on Cannabis Cup talking about
this, you want to see the drug thug or you want to see a professional.
Well, and it's just, to me, like, it doesn't matter what you look like, whatever. You can tell this story as look at all these people getting high, or you could tell this story as look at this group of young people in the worst recession in American history who built a multi-billion-dollar industry just by passion. That, to me, is some real shit, and people don't really pay attention to that shit. And, I mean,
it's always easier to go and look for the guy who just wiped out in front of Scott's booth and look up at Scott and go, see that? Demon right there. Because that's pretty much what they're looking for, you know what I mean? That's like they're running around a lot of times bored because they don't get the shot they're looking for. They're looking for the guys going down.
Take stuff out of context. It's really easy
for sure.
You know, with anything nowadays.
And it's on us when we participate. You know, it's really easy to get excited when there's news cameras around and you're like, oh, fuck, Channel 9. Dude, everyone's going to see this. But, you know, you can take a minute to... I mean, they don't have to follow your promise.
After the tornado, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Actually, while I remember, I'm just going on media.
You got 3 minutes left. Let's do it, Adam.
This Friday.
This fucking Friday. Talk about being media whores. Let's go.
Let's go media whores, right? The Vice piece was going to come out.
HBO.
Cool.
Yeah. Who's in that? We're in that. You're in that.
Yeah, we're all over it.
Yeah.
No, I saw the little intro. It looks pretty hot.
Where'd you see that? I've tried to, they don't have it up on the HBO website yet.
It's on the...
It is HBO Go. It might be on HBO.com.
It's on one of them. It was just showed a little flash, and I was like, we are definitely representing pretty hard for Colorado, which is going to be good. Hopefully, just our style of party shows the people that it's not, you know, a bunch of people wiping out and
for sure
looking like a bunch of amateurs almost. And then, so I'm not sure exactly the time, but you can look at Vice TV. If you got HBO, you're going to have it in your house. If not, you have to get it probably right after on YouTube or whatever.
HBOGo.com has it. If you have.
And what I'll do is we'll get
we'll do something at the lab.
Project Free TV.
So come to the lab.
Oh, Nikka, no! Now the show has to all go to jail because no, I'm just fucking with you. So we got
the one thing is that the Milk Bar seemed to get mega press. So you're going to be like having to pump out those things, and
it's actually in late stage R&D. We just filed the patents. I do have to big up the crew at Incredibowl Industrìes. Well, I've been out doing this shit and doing kind reviews. They've been obviously bringing shit forward. When they won the cup and I got mad love for all those guys because, like I'm really proud. They won that cup for best product with an adjustable down stem, which that makes so much sense. The adjustable length down stem. So good.
Oh, I just break them usually, and then that's it.
Oh,
just one way.
This
smaller.
Shit's made out of metal, so it's not going to break.
Yours is metal.
But no, it's got the glass bowl, as always. We're not playing.
Okay.
So, yeah. Best product and second place best booth. That's fucking awesome, man. Like the booths in this cup were by far the most money I've ever seen spent in our industry.
Double decker.
Yeah, massive. And to take second place with like a little 5x10 joint and a team of volunteers is pretty fucking like hardcore. And that's
awesome,
amazing.
man. Congrats.
A 5 foot by 10 foot joint, you'd probably win best booth if you had a 5x10 joint.
Oh, Adam Dunn, the puns and the rhymes. He loves them. He should be a rapper.
I know.
Did you ever rap, Adam?
No, definitely not.
Never. There's no tape on a recorder that from like trapped in a closet in 1988.
You guys know how I met Mitch, right?
Yeah. Tell this story.
Me and Mitch were, at this time I didn't know the gentleman, but I'm hustling flyers out in front of Redfish, or CDs, actually. I'm selling CDs. And I see this kid come up, and he's selling CDs too. And I'm like, what's this kid doing on my turf? I'm just trying to hustle my shit here. No, but that's actually when I first met Mitch. He came up to me as Professor Meat. The MC Professor Meat. So big up Professor Meat every time. I know you're still doing things at home.
At home. One day I'm going to release the archives. Yup.
How long ago? That was like 8 years ago, wasn't it?
Dude, it's like 7 years ago. Yeah, when I first came to Boulder. It was not a bad hustle. But then all these other motherfuckers started showing up on the block and diluting the market. Right on. Let's do shout-outs, Adam.
Shout-outs. Yeah, see? How'd you know? Yeah. Shout out to my beautiful wife up on Blue Mountain, holding it down with little Nick, running around like madman. I'll be home.
Bro, you know Nick's trying to escape on the train, right? Have you put that together?
I know.
That 2-2 thing, he's pointing at the train, and then he found the weak spot in the fence, and he tries to, like, trick you.
That. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, definitely, like, reinforce that, because he's about to go full hobo.
Full hobo. He's working his way towards that thing, I know. And my crew down there at the farm with Ace, Alfie, Shane, Donnie, and Mama Ace, of course.
Right on.
That's my personal shouts, of course.
Yeah. I got to do personal shouts to Reese and to little baby who's coming in like 2-3 weeks, so I might miss an episode depending on how this all plays out. Thanks, guys.
Watch out. People are hawking your spot.
Yeah. Adam got me this awesome.
Yeah, that's CC, and CC made sure I got you that one.
30 pounds and lose about 300 hours of sleep.
Nice. Sounds good. Dude, that's why I have a tackle box of weed. And it's worth it. Right on. Cool. Adam, you got other shout-outs?
Well, I just want to remind everybody for Friday, come on down to the Hood Lab if you are in the area of Denver or anywhere in Colorado and you want to drive up, check out. Basically, it'll be a surreal experience. You'll be able to watch a show, filming people partying, the spot that you're partying in, and be like, what the hell's
It'll be like a weird inverse Rocky Horror experience.
It will be weird. It's going to be weird, but awesome. And also, yeah, in general, just come on down to the Hood Lab, 3354 Larimer if you don't know where it's at, and check us out.
Right on. And we will, of course, want to thank Scott from RareDankness, Nikka T, Riley from Down with Dirt, Dave from Elite Cannabis, P-Bud, Mr. Bike Holly, wherever the hell he's hiding, station manager, Chris always on the ones and twos.
I got to also do one quick shout out to the PET, the new Precision Extraction Technologies.
Yes, sir.
Oven that I was hawking down at the show. It's kind of nice. I didn't have to like do anything except sell one oven. It was like kind of weird because I've never thought I'd be selling ovens, but I can do that. You know, that's pretty easy.
Sell an oven, yeah.
An oven at a show. It's like, hey, you need this oven. There's nothing else to look at but this oven, and that's pretty awesome. I was like, I've never had that. I've always been like, and then we have this, and we have, you know, oof. So if you need a good oven, which everybody in the industry of concentrates, a good vacuum oven, give us a shout. Look at precisionextractiontechnologies.com and throw us a message.
And while we're doing biz shouts, I also want to shout out Build a Soil. I believe they are definitely going to lock down that sponsorship this week. So preemptive shout out, buildasoil.com. If you're on some custom organics tips, if you go to Way to Grow and get your cheap Roots Organics, and then you just need to juice it up with minerals, but you don't want to buy the whole box and you just want the mix you need, hit up Build a Soil and hit up Jeremy, and he's got the mineral pack for you or the aeration amendment pack for you. And it's just a really good service. Everything's organic. They got a farm out on the western slope where they take care of everything, and I know he consults with a lot of the dudes. I learned from on the forums, Clackamas Coots and Gas Can and all those dudes. Nice. So, and they consult him on what his mixes and everything he buys. So, big shout outs to Build the Soil, and we're excited definitely to have them on. And then pass the mic to Mr. Reach.
I want to say thank you to Corey and those guys over at Green Man Cannabis, and of course to my buddy David with Elite Cannabis for the Cannabis Cup wins this past weekend. And can't do this without my lovely wife Pamela back up at home, taking care of the Bulldog Babes. And yeah, man, the whole RD crew, thank you for allowing me to do everything I do, and appreciate everything that the loyal supporters do for us as well. Thanks, guys.
Yes, y'all. Give thanks for having me. Big up to all the winners at the 2014 High Times Cannabis Cup here in Denver. Enough love and respect every time for our whole industry, our whole community here. I think we're a nice, tight-knit group, and let's keep moving it forward. I also got to give big ups and shout-outs to my whole Essential Extract Soldiers team. They work hard every single day. We're in the lab 22 hours out of every single day. So the whole team, we're growing and expanding rapidly every day. Got to give shout-outs to the whole team: Sam, Evan, Sadie, Dennis, Zach. There's more too. Also got a big up Down with Dirt Genetics and Trill for providing some of the winning material this year. Like I always promote, it starts with a grow.
Go for it, bud.
Right on. I just wanted to say thanks to the whole Elite Cannabis crew. We busted ass to be able to get all that together in time for the Cup. It came on us like a ton of bricks. Big Jack was there helping me after he finished work, 8 to 2 a.m., damn near every night. So just wanted to say thanks to the whole crew and to my wife for putting up with, all of our shit.
I just want to say, big ups to people from the forums: Scott, Richie, Sean, all the mountain crew from Ward, Fletcher, my boy Marcus, everyone really, because that's like where the community started, and all those people are what stepped it up. OG Cushman, yeah,
for sure.
So I think we're wrapping it up for this is our end of the show, right?
Yeah, this is definitely the end of the podcast.
Unless Chris
We're
has got
over.
some kind of shout out.
Yeah,
no?
Chris, you
Come
got
on,
some
Chris.
shouts? Cool. Right on, guys. Well, if you missed the beginning of the
Do we
show,
know how much we got for Jenny Cush? Any kind of ideas? On
Oh, yeah,
numbers?
let's find out about that.
I have no idea.
Did really, obviously, really well.
Close to 10.
Close to 10?
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice.
Awesome. Nice.
There's a good factoid. A little factoid at the end there.
Yeah.
Real quick, too, I just wanted to shout out to Flowering Hope Foundation. We donated everything we made from any of the little plugs and shirts and stuff to those guys just to be able to get medicines to families that need help.
Nice.
Awesome.
Right on. Cool. Well,
see you guys.
Yeah, if you missed the beginning of the show, check us out on iTunes starting tomorrow. We'll be up on YouTube tomorrow. Don't forget to connect with us on Facebook at the Adam Dunn Show.
Over the chat. We'll go over the chat and see if there's any things we need to get back to next week, because we didn't have a chance to bounce it back and forth too much since we had so many people.
Crazy week.
Crazy. Too many winners.
But yeah, right on, guys. Have a great week.
All right, bye.